Hello, everyone. My name is Katie from Greenland Quilter. I hope everyone has been having a really great week this week and that they had a lovely weekend. I know I had a good weekend. We'll talk about that directly. But yeah, so tonight we are going, or today, it's tonight my time, and it's definitely tonight for Amanda. So we have Amanda from Scraptastic Crocheter. We also
Hello.
have Andi from Crafty Witch 232. So
Hi.
I'm going to open this up and start with Amanda. Amanda, I'm going to spotlight you and tell them a little bit about your channel and what you plan on working on tonight.
Well, maybe I should just show you what I am working on because I can do that. You can see what I'm doing at the same time. You get to see my face and this. I am going to be working on this. I have started this morning and I was live streaming part of it. I had, a bit done. And then I was hanging out with a bunch of you guys live. This is going to become a blanket that's going to look kind of like a sunflower. So we're going from brown. I know my lighting is a little bit off, but going from brown to gold. And this is stuff I do. Like I live stream while I just hang out and crochet most of the time. The other day, yesterday, I started a bunny. Or I kind of found this bunny that was just laying about. It had 4 legs and 1.5 ear. So together we've been hanging out and working on that. I still need a head and a tail and some assembly. But yeah, most of the time I like to just hang out and chill while I crochet. I'm not the best at making like videos and yeah, I'm more for like just hanging out.
That's awesome. And it looks like my closed captioning is not working. So let's see if I can get Zoom to turn it on. Automatic. We'll see. But yeah, because normally it's through YouTube, and it looks like I forgot to hit the switch, and I can't change it because I just went and looked. Darn it! Sort of restarting the whole live stream anyway. I'm sorry, Andrea. I didn't realize it wasn't on. Normally I have it on. Closed captioning will look like this. Automatically dim video when so bear with me here. I'm gonna yeah. Hang on a minute. I'll introduce Chaunda and Andi in just a minute. Let me try to get the closed captioning to work with this thing. Closed captioning. Info captions. Save. Caption link. Caption appearance. Language. One is English. Okay, save. I hope y'all can see it with the I don't know if you'll see it or not. Yeah, I can see it. Andrea, can you see it with the Zoom screen or no? Or where the video is? Can you see a closed captioning there? Let me know if you can see where it's coming across the screen or not. I forgot to set it on
I
YouTube.
see something. Yeah, no, I see something.
Uh,
Yep.
and you can't see them because they're too small. Goodness. Let me see here. Caption settings. Let me see if I
Well,
can
at
make
least
it.
they're up. So
Oh, wait, I can make
I
it
can
bigger.
see them.
All right. Andrea and Laura, can you give me a heart if you can now see it bigger? Let me know. Does this help? Give me a heart if you can see it. Hello, hello. I just made the font bigger. Let me know if you can see it. We have a
Oh, excuse me.
delay. Okay, Mariel says she sees it fine. Laura, can you see it okay? And Andrea, can you see it okay? Let me know. I'm waiting on the answer from Laura because Mariel says she can see it. Okay. Hey, Chaunda. Andrea says she's going to put it on her TV so she may be able to read it. What about you, Laura? Can you see it now? I made the font bigger. It's not big for me, but I'm watching on my phone as it's the only option at the moment. I'm sorry, I forgot to, I don't know how I missed not having that setting on, and I can't turn it on because it won't let me, which is silly. Okay, so let's hop over to Andi.
Oh, me? Sorry, I'm just
I was
just
sitting here
zoned
like,
out.
what was supposed to be saying? And go ahead and tell them about your channel and what you plan on working on as well.
Hi everybody. My channel, I just make all kinds of weird random things. Like lately I've been making little mini mini killers, little guys. They're so cute. But today I'm going to be working on my first wearable.
Ooh, fun.
Yeah, so I need help. I can't decide if I should use this one or this one.
For yourself?
Yes, for me.
I think that green looks pretty.
What
Green
color's
one.
your eyes?
They're like a blue-green. Blue with like a little touch of green.
And then you got purple hair. I would
Yeah.
go for the green. Yep. No, I would go for the green.
I want to
Okay.
dye my hair purple. Why don't you get on an airplane and come dye my hair?
But yeah, that's what I'm going to work on.
All right. Hey, Chaunda, how are you?
Chaunda's having technical difficulties.
Oh,
I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah, we hear you.
We hear you. Do you want a few more minutes before I spotlight you?
I wonder if she can hear us.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, she's
That's a-
typing in the chat in Zoom that she's got technical difficulties. She can't hear us. But we can hear
Okay.
her.
Yeah, we hear you, but apparently you can't hear us. Oh, goodness gracious. We're going to have, I've been having all kinds of trouble with my technical stuff lately. Hi, you dear. Welcome, welcome. Hello, Robin Marie. Hello, Andrea and Laura Sup and Muriel. And Laura was not Laura, Robin was the first one in the chat today. So she gets the first place again. Okay. Still small on my TV, but I am okay. I need new glasses, laugh out loud. Yeah, you and me both. I can't half waste either. I'm sorry. Andrea, I usually don't do that. I don't know why somebody put it. Just ignore me while I work it out.
Ouch.
Ooh, what was that?
That was probably Chaunda.
that was demons exercising us.
Something.
All right, I need to figure out these caption things. They're like weird. Okay, while Shonda's working on her issue, direct message. Okay, got that. Got it. Okay, this is Norma. She's trying to work it out. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about. So as y'all know, I went off for the weekend, and we were off grid. And off grid means no internet, no cell phone service, no nothing, no one to be seen within. We saw maybe one or two boats doing the same thing we were doing, but they weren't in the same area. We passed one where they were cleaning fish and the birds were circling because they knew they were going to get free food. But yeah, so I want to show y'all this. If you haven't been over on my community tab, this is one of three. I actually technically caught 5, but I lost the first 2. So this is number 3. And this is Northern Atlantic cod that I caught this weekend. We brought home 4. Robin says she ordered the 1,000 block book today. Yay! Thank you I'm so happy that y'all are interested in doing these blocks. I have a video that will go. Our video for everyone to see should hit the airways later tonight, I think, or no, tomorrow. Well, 12 a.m. at midnight my time, which would be 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So keep an eye out for that video. It's the fishing video. And then I'll be putting up videos over the next few days of the whole weekend. So, Chaunda, are you any closer to where you need to be yet? Or can she still hear us?
I don't know, but at least she did mute so we don't get that weird staticky noise.
All right. So I thought what I would do before we got to crocheting, because we got 2 already crocheting. I thought I would show you, I thought I would do 3 or 4 more books again, and then do an unboxing of another little box of crochet, and then we'll just start crocheting and have great conversation.
Okay.
I thought that's what I would do. Hopefully Chaunda will figure out what's going on so she can talk too. Let me see if she's...
Perhaps she just needs to restart. Sometimes that solves issues. Actually, a very common way to solve issues is to just restart everything.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let me show you some books, some more crocheting books. And I'm going to see if I can figure out how to make this a little bit more something.
Okay.
Hopefully I don't accidentally turn something off while trying to make the screen a little bit bigger. Whoops, that's a lot, huh? Let's see here.
I got a big yarn barf, so I'm rolling.
Oh, that's always fun.
Okay.
A yarn baby.
Solar flare.
Okay, now we got 2 Chaundas.
Double the Chaunda.
That's okay. She might be doing 2 cameras, which is okay. Solar flares are causing issues all over the world, says Andrea. I wouldn't be surprised because some of them are bad ones. All right, Chaunda, can you hear us yet?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so I've got it fixed.
You. Yay!
Hi.
All right. How are you
Sorry.
doing?
I am good. Sorry about that.
No need to apologize. We all been having gremlins this week with our technology. Let me spotlight you. I know you're not had a chance to breathe yet. Tell us about your channel a little bit and what you plan on working on tonight.
My name is Chaunda. My channel is Under the Needle Quilting and Crafts. Today, I am starting something new that I'm only going to be working on when I'm on with you guys. So,
Ooh, fun.
So I got
Yay.
inspired by Katie. So I know she was working on the Attic 24 blanket, the Spring Frost, was it?
Yeah. Let me make sure we got the name of it right. Yeah, Spring Frost. Yep.
So I decided to do the sweet pea one.
Ooh.
Enjoy the sweet pea. It's lots of fun.
So I am using a different weight of yarn. The pattern calls for a DK weight. I am using an Aran weight. So I had to do a lot of math to figure out how many colors I was going to need, how many rows I was going to need, and what my starting chain was going to be. I think I figured that out. So I am doing a foundation double crochet row to start because this is going to be a bit more accurate for me to make sure that my math is correct. And so that's what I'm working on today as far as my channel. I just do things crochet and quilting. I don't do a lot of tutorials because there are people that do that a lot better than me. I normally just run my mouth a lot, and that's pretty much how I spend my time.
I love your unboxings. Okay, now let me see what's in the chat again. Hang on a second. Nora, stop. It is very hot in this house. It's 20 degrees Celsius outside, which is like something degrees. So our house feels like a sauna today.
You got 20?
20 degrees Celsius right now.
I'm jealous. We're still not really there yet.
Yeah, the sun was bright. So hilarious. So a little thing happened today. Hey, Jessica. Hang on a second. I'll tell you what went on today. I'm just trying to catch everybody that come in. How do I get rid of this?
At least you guys just missed what I did.
What did you do?
Just an idea. I don't know if you can see it.
You stabbed it on a pole.
Oh, that's cool. That's hilarious. So anyway, today we get a message from my boss who runs a tourist shop, and she also she hires all of us to tour guide, and she sends a message. She says, anybody got a driver's license out there? I need help. And I told Nikolai, I said, send a message, because she wrote it in Greenland, so I couldn't read it. Nikolai sends a message back, my wife has driver's license, a Greenland driver's license. She's like, oh, I didn't know that. So today she got a big shipment on the container ship today of stuff for the shop. So we spent an hour and a half, and there was, let's see, me and my husband and 3 other people and herself, and all of us got all of that stuff loaded into a car and onto an ATV with it toting a trailer, and we got it all to the storage unit and done within 3 hours, or an hour and a half actually. So that's what I did this afternoon. So I'm a little bit hyper. So what I'm going to do, so if my face looks a little red, it's because I forgot to wear a hat. I'm going to spotlight and share these books with you guys. So I thought I would share some more of my crochet books, because these books, when I first moved here and I started ordering these books from Amazon, these books were really, really helpful in getting me, because remember I said I learned how to crochet at 11 with just the basic stitches. And I've only done 2 or 3 Afghans, which I've already shown you, but I really hadn't expanded my horizons all that much, and I wanted to learn more things. Plus, I wanted to learn how to design my own little squares. So these books are great, helpful. So here's another Eddie Ekman book, and this one is Around the Corner Crochet Borders.
Ooh, fun.
And this one does nothing but cover doing borders on like Afghans or whatever you're making, and it walks you through it. But she has all kinds of styles of a border, so I'm going to show you. These are called edgings, and you can see the style that's here that you can create on the outside of a piece that you're finished doing and you want to put a border. It's just like when you're doing a quilt and you want to put a border on it. These are fancy little, I love the flower ones a lot. And you have curves, and these all have different kind of stitches. You can have squigglies, like you can put this on the bottom of a shawl if you wanted to, or a poncho, whichever.
It looked like jellyfish legs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These borders can also, like this is a popcorn stitch. And I have popcorn stitch sitting up there on that mandala. You know, it gives you ideas of how you can incorporate different things within a piece if you're designing it on your own. So this is a good way to learn how to do some kind of stitch. And then if you want to change it to make something creative out of whatever it is you're creating, you can, this is a book that shows you all these different kinds of stitches. And I'm just going to stroll through them so you can see some of them. And I will I'll list these books in the description box, or either in, probably what I'll do is put them in the comment section and then pin them so you can find them. These books are relatively inexpensive. I think let me see what I paid for this book. I paid $17 for this book, and you get a boatload of ideas. I mean, you get everything you need, the written part of it. If you go by diagrams and you don't read, you have 2 ways of doing this. So this is for anyone. Like I had this one labeled. I must have planned on playing with this one.
I like that one.
Yeah. And so, you know, just whatever. Like the little Afghan that Chaunda mentioned that I'm working on. the spring frost, I probably will do something for an outside border because it's going to be a little bit of a small Afghan anyway. And I might get creative and put something on the outside just because I can, you know, or I might leave it alone. I haven't decided. But there is just lots of cool little borders. Let me see if there's anything really, yeah, see, you can also, there's lots of fillets in here. I mean, it's a really great book. You've got this solid stuff here, which is mostly single crochet, it looks like, or double crochet. I mean, just, it's a great book. Oh, I have a label in here. How about that? I mean, there's just, see that? You can get really fancy.
That is fancy.
Yeah, fancy.
Way too
fancy.
lazy for that.
Yeah. So that's what this is. It's nothing but borders. The next one, for those of you, for those who are newbies, or even those who are not newbies who don't know all the stitches that's out here on the planet that relates to crocheting. This is a crochet Bible, and this one's by Betty Barnden. It has 200 traditional and contemporary stitches with easy to follow charts. So you get not only the written part of it, but it shows you charts. And there's information at the beginning of the book, how to use this book, equipment and materials, different types of yarn, how to begin, how to start your first stitch, basic stitches, like this covers chain stitch, slip stitch, single crochet, extended single crochet, half double crochet, double crochet. I mean, that's what this book is all about. It teaches you all the different stitch variations, how to hook different things together. I mean, it's a really great, what do you call it? Like an encyclopedia, you know. It's
like a reference guide.
A reference guide. So when you're stuck and you're like, well, I don't know how to do this, does this book have it? And you can find it in here. It has a stitch collection in here, and it walks you through basic stitch patterns, half double rows, extended single crochet rows, double rows, treble rows, double treble row. I mean,
say that 3 times fast.
Yeah, just like tongue twisting here. Textured stitches, another tongue twister. I don't know why I'm all tongue twisted today. You know, it's a spider stitch, up and down stitch, waffle stitch. I mean, anything you can probably hadn't thought of is in here. It talks about going, like, something interesting happened this weekend. My friend Ellie, who is the wife of the Torben that owns the boat, she wanted me to show her how to crochet. So I got another ball of my yarn out because I was already crocheting on the boat when we were just not doing anything else. And within about 15 minutes, she had learned how to single crochet, double crochet, and treble crochet. And
that's impressive.
Yeah. And then I walked her through a little bit of what I was working on so she could get a feel of the work. And, you know, I was totally impressed because she was paying attention to what I was teaching her. And I was just happy about that. So now I think she's going to try to learn. She said she was going to buy some yarn, and I gave her one of my crochet hooks. And I told her that I would take the time to come over and show her how to do things. And I'm fine with that. This book is another, I think this one, yeah, this is another Eddie Ekman book. This woman was prolific with books. She made all kinds of ones. So this one is Beyond the Square Crochet Motives. And I'm going to show you some squares here. One in particular is this one.
Ooh. Oh, that's fun.
See, this is like 2-dimensional. This is the back of it, front of it. So this book has this block in here. So this is what I liked about this book is you can learn how to do these really cool blocks. Like you can see I was playing around. Okay. And then I started messing with this type stitch. And then I was doing this type stitch. And I have shown some of my other ones where I've played around. What you can do with this is once you learn how to do a lot of what's in this book, you can turn around. You have quilt designers and you have crochet designers. And crochet designers start where we all start at the beginning. And some might use books to learn things. Some might use videos to learn. I mean, when I first started this, YouTube wasn't, I mean, YouTube was around, but it wasn't as prevalent as it is now. And so books have always been my go-to thing anyway. And I will always be a book fanatic. So whenever I find a new book that has a lot of great information in it, I'll hop on that. But this is another one. It starts you how to start a round, how to end a round, how to hide the tails within a round. It teaches you all of this. It teaches you join as you go, principles of flatness, and how to we call it blocking, how to block your blocks so they're laid flat. Like right, what you see here, you see how this is wavy? I have blocking boards and I have a spray bottle and I just use plain water and I just damp it just a tiny bit. And then I pin it to the blocking board. And then when it's dry, it's all flat and pretty. So it teaches you to do that. And then you get back here and I'm going to show you some of the blocks that you can learn how to make. So this one's circles. It does circles, different styles. Look at this fillet. And you got this really textured piece right here. See that?
Yeah.
So you can get as crazy with these as you want to. I mean, it's just whatever floats your boat. Look at here. You can see a design on this spiral.
Oh yeah, that's a neat one. That's a neat design.
Yep. And basically those are posts that's on top of the work. And it's part of when you're crocheting into the piece. You got popcorn over here. Can you see the popcorns?
Yep.
And then you have like these flowers. So this book teaches you how to do all of these different styles. There's this one where you got ridges. Let me see here. You can crochet on top of the work. That's what this is right here. And then you go into hexagons. So those of you who like hexies, look at here. The
hexies are more up my alley.
Yeah, look at all these hexies. These hexies are very cool. So it's interesting because these tie so close to us quilters that, and maybe that's why I have, enjoyed doing the quilting from the crocheting, because I want to do a quilt where I have crochet and quilting incorporated into the same piece. And I think I could do that by doing reverse applique. And the applique would be the crocheted piece behind the quilt piece. Did that just make sense? Maybe not. When I make one, I'll show it to you guys because I already have some motifs made out of number 3 cotton yarn, and I feel like I can do a reverse and put the piece, sew it onto a square piece of fabric, and then put it up underneath the reverse, and then all you're going to see is the crochet piece within that reverse applique, which would be a circle. It would have the crochet part in it, but it would be behind it instead of on top of it. Then you have triangles. And I like triangles. These triangles are fun. So much fun. You can do half triangles, which is what that is. And then you have these fancy, really cool ones right here. And you see how you have indentation on these. So any of this like this. So this is what this book is basically. Then we go to squares. That's what these are. Different types of squares. Look at that one. That one's pretty.
It is.
Very pretty. And you have this one that has I forget what they call this, but a sliding loop. This is called fillet, this part. And then you have I'm going to skip over. to the next section. Oh, here's a weave.
Oh yeah, I like that weave.
Mm-hmm. Isn't that cool?
That's really cool.
Yep. Then you go into what they call unusual shapes. So you have this 5-sided
pentagram.
Yeah,
pentagon. Pentagon,
yeah.
is it pentagon or pentagram is the devil, right? And then pentagon is
1,
the shape.
2,
Is that
3,
how it works?
4. Yeah, it's 5 sides. So pentagon? No, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's a pentagon. That's because that's the government building too, because it's 5 sides.
Yep. Then you have a half circle here. You have an oval. How many of you quilters out there, don't that remind you of a quilting rug?
Yes, it does. It definitely does.
Yeah. Then you have hearts. Believe it or not, here's your hearts. And here's another one of those 5-sided items. Oh, look at this one. Look what they've done to it. So pretty cool.
They kind of have the texture of like a coral reef.
Yeah.
Or like a tree, like the top of a tree.
Yep. Then you have these circles within that 5-sided shape. And you have starfish, which I think that's so cute. And so that's what this book is all about. And back here, in the back of the book, the appendix, it talks about arranging and attaching motives. And then you have a small dictionary back here of what all the stitches mean. So this book is a very good reference book as well, because it talks you through here. And then here is another type of reference book. It says the only crochet reference you'll ever need. I never get enough books, so Anyway, this one is by Julia Oparka, and in this book, let me see here. It's called Crocheopedia, the only crochet reference you'll ever need. And this one talks about yarns and fibers, yarn weights, crochet hooks and equipment, yarn labels, substituting yarns, washing and care essentials, and blocking, which I've mentioned about blocking. There is simple projects, intermediate projects, advanced projects. There is a stitch directory of charts, understanding chart symbols, resources, indexes, and picture credits that are in this book. There's an introduction here, and I'll be getting to you guys in the channel here directly. She talks about modern crochet and yarns, and here you talk about yarns and fiber, all different kinds of animal fibers, synthetic fibers, plant fibers. I mean, she goes into, and she also, look at here, she goes in depth on yarn weights and what they mean. So when you get Chaunda mentioned that what weight did you say you got?
Aran.
So she bought an Aran. And then over here on this side of the pond, we have something called a DK weight. And then you have something called a fingerling. Like right here, it mentions lace weight, which is 2 or 3 ply, super fine fingering weight, sock 4 ply, fine sport weight baby, 8 ply double knitting DK light worsted, medium fisherman worsted weight 12 ply, bulky chunky, super bulky. So she explains all of that. She talks about the different kind of hooks. She also talks about the hairpin hook and the crochet fork, which is a hairpin lace one. I have one of these right here. I haven't learned how to use it. I've used it a little bit trying to practice on it, but I haven't made anything with it yet. Other types of equipment, stitch markers. I like these stitch holders because you can put multiple stitches on it. You need a tape measure, you need a weaving needle or a tapestry needle, whichever you want to call that. It talks about yarn labels. It explains what most of the labels mean. And it talks about substituting yarn and washing and care essentials, blocking. It talks about the abbreviations and how to read a pattern, symbol crochet charts, how to read those. and then measuring, how to measure to see. Everybody crochets different, just like everybody make pieces different. Or there, an example would be for quilters. Each of us do our 1/4 inch seam allowance different. Okay, so same thing with crocheting. One person might be a tight crocheter while another one is a looser crocheter. And the gauge of your stitches will depend on what type of crocheter you are. And this talks about how to measure a gauge so that you can determine what you need to figure out doing the math on what size you're doing. Like Chaunda was talking about. She had to figure out what the gauge of her what she was going to crochet is based on what she planned on doing. So you learn how to do that. You learn how to hold a hook in a yarn, make slip knots. It took me a long time to learn how to do a slip knot this way, because I started out with just tying a slip knot, because that was the way I learned how to do it. You have foundation and turning chains, and it goes totally in depth on each step you do. Like this is turning chains, half double crochet, treble crochet, double crochet. I mean, it's the same thing with this book. Joining in a new yarn or color, how to do that, weaving in ends. I mean, it's just a really great reference, another great reference. And also, hang on, talks about color, talks about motifs, thread and fillet crochet. One of these days I'm going to make a big fillet. I used to have something that I did in fillet, and fillet is a lot of fun because yes, it's a lot of open work, but it's so beautiful. Broomstick lace. I haven't learned how to do that one yet, and that's uses a really big it uses this. It looks a lot like a knitting needle, doesn't it?
Well, you could actually use anything that is a big stick. So yeah, I guess broomstick comes from the fact that people did use that in the past. You could use it like a ruler as well, just to get the height.
Yep. And then you have a hairpin lace, which is the 2 bars that you use. I actually have one of those. I'll show it on the next go around. Can't show you everything I got because then there will be nothing to show you. Trims, like y'all have seen scarves where it has this what is this called?
Very annoying fringe.
Yeah, this fringe.
I hate making them.
Yeah, some people like fringe on them, some people don't. The fringe is a pain in the butt to make, but it's fun to have on a scarf or on a shawl. But like she said, it is a pain to make. Felted crochet, which I have never done. So that's, and then it talks about garment construction, project selector. And in this book, there's simple projects like you can make a square pot holder, a beanie hat with pom-pom, a bow headband, fingerless gloves, phone cozy, bobble scarf, baby. So it gives you all kinds of things you can make. And then it has intermediate things to make and advanced things to make. Like right here, this one is a fillet thread runner, and it has a design in it. It's kind of like when you're doing embroidery, it looks a lot like embroidery to me. Only you're using yarn and you're using a crochet hook to make this effect. Here, let me show you what I'm talking about. I'm talking about this one right here.
Nice.
Okay. And the rest of the book is just doing all the different projects. And back here in the back, there is some additional information that covers things like it's called a stitch directory. And it has additional information on what things look like and what they are. Basic stitches, basic stitch combinations. So as you can see, it's like this one's called a loop stitch fur stitch. Can you see that?
The one next to it looked interesting. What was that?
It was called, oh gosh, how do I say that? Astra, here, let you read it because I don't know how to pronounce that.
Astrakhan?
Yeah.
Yeah, Astrakhan.
Be so worried about that snagging on something. Like You spend all that time in like one little snag.
Yep. So
that's why I always wash my crochet stuff in a laundry bag,
Absolutely.
to make sure it doesn't snag on anything.
So
Ooh, I like that one. That one on the page before that. I don't know what that was, but I liked that. I don't know what that was. It was like two colors. I think it was like blue and red.
All right, getting there because I see where you're talking. Was it this one or this one?
Well, there was more.
One more?
Well, that was also, you know, you had some red and blue on the next page as well.
Okay, so that must have been, we had this one, and then you have this chevron.
Chaunda muted herself, so.
Yeah, it was the single crochet spike stitch. So it was it was the next page.
Okay, the one next over, this one.
Yeah, that one on the far left. Yeah, that one.
Yeah,
I
it
like
did look
that
cool.
That looks really cool.
I have actually done that stitch, and it's a lot of fun. I mean,
I've done a regular spike stitch, but I've not, it was double crochet. I've not done a single crochet spike stitch like that. I like how that looks.
Yep. Okay, so that's what this book covers. There's also charts back here that especially for those who know how to read charts. And they have resources back here as well. Resources like yarn resources, different fiber resources, Etsy's on here. And then you have an index of what's in this book. So this is another book. And I'll post all these books in the description box for you guys. Now I'm going to do a box unboxing and then I'll get on the chat. All right. Oops, I took the box away. Okay, so we're going to do another Amanda Bloom's little box of crochet, and I pulled out a bigger box. All right, so y'all seen a couple of them so far that I've shown you. This one's going to be fun, I think. Y'all are going to like this one, I think. Because this one has to do with a scarf. So this is the book, and this is the scarf.
Nice.
I like that.
I want you to look at this yarn.
Ooh, how thin is that?
That looks like the yarn I normally use. You can find a lot of that at Hobie.
Now this is Creative Wool D grade. It's 200 grams, 800 meters. It's 70% polyacrylic, acrylic, yeah. And then it has wool in it also. But it feels really soft, you guys. That's what come in the box for the yarn. As always, she always put these cute little stitch markers in here.
Oh.
So these are really super cute. And then there's this it's made of wool. And every one of, I have lots of these now, but every one of them always comes with a needle in it. So this one has a smaller, thinner needle on it. Golly, can you see it?
Yep.
It's a thin needle. And so what I'm going to do is when I start getting all these projects done, I'm going to save all these wool balls and I'm going to make a ring with them and hang them from the ceiling or something. And then inside also is a bamboo hook, and this one is a 4mm.
Yeah, that's a good size for that type of yarn.
Yeah.
I would use anything between a 3 and a 4. Most likely 3.25 for that thickness of yarn.
Yep.
But then I'm a loose crocheter.
Okay. Cool. And you also get this little notepad. And in here, there is instructions. If a pack, wait a minute, what is this about? I'm not sure what this is about. So it must be something in this bag. Okay. Let me get the bag out and we're going to pull stuff out. Oh, this is wool. Look at these little hearts.
That's cool.
Oh yeah, that is cool.
Yeah, so these are for sewing. Maybe that's, oh, there's like, 3 colors. So you get that in the box also. All right, now let's talk about the book. I'm not sure what these instructions are about.
You know what you could use those hearts for? Since you were showing off your books here earlier, you could just crochet a foundation around that, just, you know, single crochets in the holes, and practice some of your borders.
That's actually a great idea.
Because I think that could be cute with just, you know, putting a border on a heart. Very simple.
There's something that's supposed to be, I must have took something out of here and don't remember. Wait a minute, what's this? Ah, it's talking about this. There's also this Toho beads. Oh, that must be what this is about. Okay, because there's beads in here also. So, yeah. I don't know if you can really see what they look like or not. I don't think I want to open them and then end up with them all over the place. But these are round 8 or E 4-ounce beads by Toho. Okay. All right. So let me pull these out on the top because I'm going to set everything on top. Put the yarn back in here because I don't want it to get messed up. Okay. Now let's talk about the book, and then I'm going to talk to people in the chat real quick. Okay. So like I said, she always has this really nice book. So even after you've done a project, you have a how-to book here that you can use other yarns to make the same project with. Talks about what comes in the project and what they're for. Talks about the yarn. And then how to make this. That scarf's pretty. Wow. And it goes through the steps of making the shawl and how to do it. Not shawl, scarf, sorry. And I'm going to have to make this because I haven't worn a scarf in a while because I kind of got away from it. But anyway, that's what this book is. And that's what it looks like. So I hope y'all like this part of the unboxing part. Hope you enjoyed that part. Okay.
Would you like to wear it in that pink, or would you prefer for your, you know, for yourself another color? Because it's really pretty in pink, but is pink your color?
No, pink's not my color. I would prefer purple or blue or something. But it's okay. All right. Ooh, somebody has yummy yarn.
That's me. It's my color palette.
Ooh, look at you with that yummy yarn. How many colors did you choose?
I chose 16, but once I did the math, I realized I could only use 12, or else my blanket would be way too big.
Hey, can I spotlight you and you show us all your colors?
Yeah. Let's see if I can get them all in there.
Oh, that's pretty.
Yes.
Look at all the nice colors. Girl, that's going to be beautiful. Hey, that's not an offensive word, right?
No.
Okay, just making sure. I don't want somebody... I had to learn not to say the G-A-L word.
I say girl all the time. Jesus, we can't say girl anymore?
I can't say gal to anyone. There's a person of color because apparently it's offensive.
What, man? We use that girl. Let me tell you, girl, girl, you just don't know. Like, what are they talking about? I don't know. People be on some really weird stuff.
They are.
I know. I got chewed out because I said hello, gals, and I didn't mean anything by it.
Gal? Why can't we say gal? What do you mean? Gals and guys? What are you talking about?
It's a racist comment from white people toward people of color, and I'm like,
no,
what?
It is 1000% not. And whoever said that is either under the age of 20,
or they're trolling you.
Heard that from someone under the age of 20, because nobody over the age of 30 thinks gal is derogatory.
Yeah, no.
In her 70s and chewing me out about something I didn't know anything about.
No, that is absolute nonsense.
Yes, I agree.
I've been trying to be mindful and not, because it's strange the words that you can make people upset about.
Oh, there's people that gets butt hurt over anything and everything. So yeah, you're gonna step on someone's toes every day, and that's just deal. What can we do? Because people just get offended by nothing.
It's not just that, but it's like they want to be offended. It's like they're finding stuff to be offended by, and it's like, how much time do you have?
Yeah, I mean, I get that things can be, because of past stuff, and I grew up in a racist household, but I'm the least racist person you're ever gonna meet.
As a Black person, I've never ever heard any Black person object to the word gal.
Apparently, she did. I didn't.
Well, gal, like me, that is not anywhere close to you guys. I'm in Sweden. Gal, I just get Southern vibes from that. Nothing other than that. That's just I would just assume that if you use that, you're from the southern parts of the U.S.
Exactly. Hey, Tampa Creek. I didn't know she was here. Welcome, welcome. Sorry, guys. I had to say hi to her. Her title is Tampa Creek, but she actually lives in Ohio, I think. But yeah, that's what I got you. I got a nasty email saying that I had offended the whole channel during a live because I said, "Hello, gals," like it was something wrong.
Now I only time I've gotten that is when there were guys in the chat that were offended because I was referring to women only. And then there would be guys in the chat like, "Hey,"
they were all women in there at the time when I said that. Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's the only time I've gotten, because I'll say, ladies or gals or something like that, and they'll be like, "Hey, what about us?" And so I'll be like, so now I try to be mindful of that.
Gals.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But ignore them.
Hi, Jason. Welcome, welcome. Let me see who else I've missed. Hello, Kitty Pancakes. Welcome. Let me see. Cheri's here. Hi, Cheri. Sorry, I'm just not getting to you guys. I had a big bunch of stuff to show you guys. All right. Okay, now Andrea says filet crochet is beautiful on top of fabric. I once did a wedding quilt that I crocheted a bride and groom and their wedding information. If I can find the pics, I will share. That would be great. It sounds amazing, Andrea. Then she says the quilt I am currently hand quilting on, I am using 30 weight cotton crochet thread. The last one used embroidery thread. I'm experimenting with different mediums. That sounds like fun, Andrea. I can't wait to see it. And Robin says, where'd it go? Robin says broomstick lace is easy. Yeah, I'm going to have to try that because I haven't tried it yet. And I haven't done hairpin either. And I should take the time to do it. Andrea says, Cheri, I will post it in Discord when I'm finished. I also will post on Katie's Facebook group. Thank you, Andrea. Cheri says, that would be great. And then Cheri says, beautiful color, Katie. Laura says, I'm sorry, Katie, I missed the name of the book. It's Little Box of Crochet by Amanda Bloom. Amanda is no longer with us. I don't know if you were in one of the last crochet lives. We talked a little bit about Amanda. Amanda started the Little Box of Crochet. It was her company, and then she fell in love and had a partner, and I think they got married, I believe, but I'm not for sure. And so her and her wife were doing the Little Box of Crochet together, but then she was diagnosed with some type of cancer, but I don't know what kind of cancer. But when we found out that she was sick and that they were going to slow down, they switched the boxes from the small boxes, which you were getting every month, to getting the bigger box, which was quarterly, because it was to help her with, dealing with the chemo and stuff like that. And then they did 2 yearly boxes where it was one in the spring and one in the winter. It was a really enormous box. And but after about a year and a half of that, she passed away. And then the boxes just more or less stopped. And I went and looked on the webpage, and I can't decipher whether or not whether her wife is actually doing the boxes again, or if it's just they're selling boxes that they never sold off of to begin with. So I don't know. But the price was really reasonable. It come from the UK, so I didn't have to deal with all this issues between the United States and here. And so, you know, I was getting them on a regular basis and I really enjoyed them, but I got sidetracked by quilting and I was still doing the subscription to crochet. And then at some point when she passed away and they stopped the boxes, then I stopped the subscriptions because they stopped them. And so I had them sitting in there and I wasn't playing with them. So you guys are going to start seeing boxes on and off as we're doing these monthly crochet alongs. Look where I got you guys on my crochet piece so far. Last time we had a live, I was right here, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But see how the color's turning? It's coming out good. Okay, let me see here. Chaunda, your color choices are amazing, says Laura. Muriel says they want their 15 minutes of fame. Talking about what we were talking about, the comment about the word. And let me see. Hey, Kristen, girl, I'm enjoying your videos right now. She has a farmstead, and she's been posting her videos recently, and her garden's amazing.
Oh yeah.
Laura Sup says, gal is not just Southern. I'm from the Midwest, and it's definitely a common phrase, and I always use it because that's just the way I talk. Yeah, I wasn't meaning anything bad when I was using a word. I didn't even know it was a thing. How am I supposed to know this? My mother never told me it was. And
It's not a thing. That's why, because it's not a thing.
Yeah.
It's not a thing. Somebody made that up out of whole cloth, okay?
Apparently. But it sure made me feel bad, made me cry when I read the email because it was like, wow, I would never say something offensive to anyone like that by using some term that might actually be a racist term, you know? Because in fact, me and my daughter were just talking about this. My kids had words that they were not allowed to use in our house. And if one of their friends came over and one of their friends used certain words, they're like, my mom hears you saying that word, she's going to get on your case because it's a forbidden word in our house. And so the other day we're talking about forbidden words that Lynette's given to Ava. And she's added another word that I didn't even think of adding to the list I gave to them when they were kids. And I say, you really are going by this same little motto of certain words. And just so y'all know what words I'm talking about, it's not just racist words I'm talking about. I'm talking about words like stupid, dumb, imbecile, anything that's derogatory towards a human being. I didn't allow it in our house because I grew up with that crap. You know, and I didn't want my kids growing up feeling that they were that they felt, you know, that they were lower or whatever. There's a word I was going to come up with and it's kind of escaping my brain. Worthless. That's the word I was looking for because I grew up feeling worthless because that's what my dad, you know, would do. So I decided that my kids wouldn't use. Do you hear this?
Yeah, I was just about to ask like, who's pet.
You can hear her.
Really?
Nora.
She's over here licking her lips on top of it. She's like, please come. Really? We took her to the lake earlier. Go tell Daddy. Say, Daddy, give me a piece of chicken. Go get Daddy. Now she'll go try with him. And she'll come back. You watch. Go tell Daddy. I'll be right back. I'm going to give her a chicken leg. Be right back.
Okay.
Otherwise, she's not going to be quiet.
Cute. So how's it going, Andi, with your wearable over there? Are you following a pattern?
Yeah, it's a very easy pattern. Just double crochet, chain one, skip. I think it's coming good. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Me too, Laura. I couldn't say shut up and I couldn't say hate. Those are the words that my mother did not allow. So I was not allowed to say I hated anyone. I could only say that I don't like them or I don't like a thing because she was like, hate is a very strong word and you need to be careful how you use it. So I don't want you to use it. And to this day, I'm like that. It's very rare that I use the word hate and it's usually not directed towards a person.
Yeah. Ava came home apparently, and this is how we got on the subject of it. Ava came home, and Lynette was telling me she would come home from school, and it was because all the kids were saying, I hate this and I hate that. So she had to explain to Ava, this is, and it was a forbidden word in their house. And so she's like, but Mom, they say hate all the time at school. And she had to explain about what a strong word it was, and that, she didn't want her growing up thinking it was okay to use a word in a haphazard manner, because we all know we hear that word all the time now. If you disagree with someone, you hate them.
Right.
And that's not the case.
You can hate someone's actions. Like you can hate an action, but not a person. So that's how she broke it down to me.
Uh-oh.
Yes.
So she's been trying to get Ava to understand this. It's there's times when you can say it and there's times when you cannot.
You can also flip that around instead of saying, because if you have children and you like, I love you, I will always love you no matter what, but I don't always love what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Exactly. I used to say, I don't always like what you do, or I dislike what you do, instead of using the H word,
Correct.
And you can and the other thing is you can accept someone for who they are, even if you don't like them, but you don't have to hate them because you don't like them.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Because we're not going to like everybody we meet, but that doesn't mean that we hate them, because I just don't see how that comes into play.
Right.
And it's not useful.
Yeah, it isn't. It just breeds more discontent.
Exactly. And we're in the end, we're all humans.
Yep.
And we're all supposed to be different. We're not all supposed to be the same.
Yep. Chaunda, same here. Hate was not allowed in our home, says Laura. See, I'm glad I'm not the only one here that feels this way about this kind of stuff. Muriel says, I grew up out west and the cowboy movies were using the word gal and guys all the time, and it is not a bit offensive. It's just an old-fashioned speech.
Yep.
And then Laura says, Chaunda, 100%. I think some people just want to complain and be mean.
Yeah. It's like I don't know. I feel like sometimes people don't have a lot going on, and some people like to feel like they're the victim. Like they like that feeling of feeling aggrieved. I personally don't. I don't like that feeling. And I don't look for opportunities to be offended. I'm very, very difficult to offend me.
I'm trying to think of anything you can say to, well, I guess if you were put me down in a derogatory, well, I guess the best way to offend me is if you use something that triggers something. Yeah, I
think most of the people that does that, they're just bored. They're just trying to instigate something.
Right. Like they don't have enough going on that they're looking for trouble. They're looking for drama. That's the word. The drama folks.
Katie, your other camera didn't want to play along anymore.
Yeah. Plus, they probably have enough of their own problems.
Not playing along. I forgot to put the power on it. Oops. I always forget to put the power cord on here, and I know darn good and well it's going to die. All right, we'll see if we can't get it to come back up in a minute. While we're waiting
without finding things,
Yeah. While we're waiting, I will keep on crocheting. So, do any of y'all want to ask questions from any of my guests on here? You got any questions for them? Feel free to ask, and I will make sure they see them.
I have a question for you, Katie.
Sure.
After we was hanging out last time, we were talking about different yarn store, and I introduced you to Hobie. Have you checked them out yet? I'm not assuming that you would purchase anything, but like, did you take a look and find something that looked maybe interesting to you?
Yes, I saw lots of things on there that looked interesting.
Yay! So the yarn that you were showing, the cake that you just showed in that box, other than the fact that it's different yarn weight or different fiber content, the Sultan cakes are very, very similar. Sultan, Azalea, and Honolulu. It's the same grams per meter as what you have there. So you can use that as a reference point for some of that since you have a cake that's very similar. But it also looked like that wasn't twisted together, those strands in what you had. It wasn't applied it just looked like loose strands. I might have seen that wrong, but it did look.
How would I know that? Would it be on the direct information on it?
No, but look at the strands.
The strands look like they're actually very thin.
Yeah, but it's probably like 3 strands or 4 strands not twisted together. And then one of them is changing color at a time to get that really slowly fading ombre gradient.
Okay, got you.
So the Sultan and the Azalea and Honolulu, they're all the same. Also, yeah, the Dahlia. Twister is twisted, and Sultan Deluxe is also twisted. So there's just for reference, you have a yarn that you could use as a comparison, so you know what you're ordering. Because I see that a lot with people ordering yarn from without looking at it and not reading the descriptions and being disappointed in, oh, this is so much thinner than I expected, because sometimes you just need to take a little time to look at what you're ordering.
I'm going to show you this language when I get this camera up and see if you can tell. Well, hang on, let me put it on this camera. Can you see the language on that? That looks like German to me. Uh-oh.
Echo. Yeah, that looks. Wait, is it? No, there's French and German.
Hang on, hold on.
Possibly.
I got to get rid of this echo. Okay, let me put it back up there so you can look at it again. All right, let me put it back up here where you can see it.
I see French and I see something that is. Okay, so there's 3 languages. There's English, French, German, and possibly Dutch. Yeah. That's what I'm seeing.
Okay, that's Netherlands then. Wow.
Yeah, but you did have it in English as well.
Yeah, I knew it was in English. Okay. I got my camera back, I think. Yep. But
what brand was that? I didn't recognize that.
Hang on. Let me set the camera back down.
Well, yeah, sort out the camera first.
It's Wait a minute. Can you see that okay?
Creative. Okay. Yeah, I've seen Creative before.
Okay.
If that's the, yeah.
Looks like I need to flip the switch on here. Thought I did that.
No, it looks correct. Now we're seeing your face. So I think it was
not
right.
supposed to be seeing our face. Oh, here we go. Now is it? Yep. Looks like I got it set right. Let's see if I can get it in here without knocking it off. Sometimes this camera mount is a little persnickety. Sorry guys for the little distraction here. I forgot to put the power on it, and it don't take long to kill a phone, especially one as old as this one. Look, did it freeze? All right.
Well, maybe it needed a little bit more battery before you turned it on.
Oh, come on now. You're not supposed to be misbehaving.
I think it jumped back. Yeah, now it's there.
There we go. Now it's working. Okay.
It just needed a minute or 3.
This is needing a minute. Rushing it. I also think sometimes the camera mounts aggravate the screen a little bit because it's very sensitive. Trying to make it go a little bit closer.
Chaunda, I'm curious. You said you had 16 colors to pick from, and then you had to narrow it down to 12. Mm-hmm. What colors did you take out of the equation?
Right.
These 4.
So it was the yellow, the
peach, this kind of this kind of like, it's not really a grass green. I can't really explain this green. And then this
It's
lighter
a very
purple.
green. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very green. And when I put it all together, like I still, the blanket still would have been fine if I had used all the colors. But when I was like narrowing it down, like these were the 4 to me that like stood out the most. But I really wanted to leave the yellow in or the peach.
The yellow's pretty.
Yeah, there's one color that, like, just looking at it, there was
this
one
one?
color. Yeah, I would not use that
I
one.
thought about that too, and replaced it maybe the peach one instead, or the yellow. You think?
Peach.
Yeah.
I would have gone for that other like bluish, or you said it was purple, but that would have been
This one.
But seeing no, not you had a light.
Oh, this
You were
purple?
holding it next to the green. Yeah, that one, that bluish color.
So though this is like a really light, this is like more of a dusty lavender in real life.
But like looking at the colors that you were showing, that one would no, but like all the colors that you did decide to go to use, I think that one would have been my choice. But seeing that apricot there, yeah, that definitely makes sense.
Yeah, I realized I had a lot of purple going on. And so that was another reason why, because I already had like 3, like these are actual purples, even though they don't look like it on screen. But these are like all in the nice purple family, and then we kind of get the fuchsia. So yeah, I wasn't quite sure, but
yeah, because I was like, will you be offended if I mentioned that the red wasn't my favorite to go with the rest of them?
Absolutely not.
Around here.
No, but like some people are like, oh, but I like my color choices and be like, stick with it. And it's like, well, I have opinions and I tend to share them, and some don't always love it.
No, I don't mind stuff like that. I like stuff like that. Help me, you know?
Yeah, that looks so much better. The red, I guess it
just
has a little bit
too much.
Yeah, it has to do a little bit with, undertones. That one just didn't. With the other ones, they're just different.
It was giving neon.
Yeah, almost. And the other ones are like more pastel-y or more muted, more like toned down. And that one was really bright.
No, I actually appreciate that, because because when you're looking at them yourself all the time, you can kind of lose perspective, you know?
Something that I have noticed being helpful is looking at it from a different angle. And in this case, look at it from your camera perspective. If you just line them up on camera and then you see them on screen and not just look at them in front of you on your desk, that can sometimes be helpful, because I've noticed that when I'm live, I've been like asking people in the chat for like suggestions of what eye color I should use, and I've lined up the eye colors, and looking at them through the camera has been like, oh, but that's actually helpful. Like with this green really looked good on the purple, it really popped. So sometimes just looking like, through the camera lens instead of with my eyes just straight down on a project has been helpful.
Yeah, I normally take a picture, and that's what I did here. I kind of I took some pictures and I played around with the order that I wanted to put them in, because I also had to be cognizant of how the colors pair. Because the way the blanket is going to work, it's like each color is going to be like paired together, kind of.
Is it similar to Katie's? She has them like going in on each other in a way, or like how, you can see what she's working on, but like, is it similar to?
I can spotlight you so you can show her the pattern if you want.
Okay.
Like the blending of the colors.
Yeah.
So like initially these 2 colors will go back and forth between one another, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then this green will fall off, and then these 2 colors will go back and forth. And then these 2 colors will go back and forth. So I have to like consider how I want the colors to flow also. So that's another reason why I was like, I don't know what to do here. I'm still not completely sure of the order. I'm still working on the pattern.
What was the pattern?
Did you print it out, or do I can always go to the website if I need to.
I do have it printed out. Let me see. I've got the colors. Okay. Her colors aren't my colors, but it'll give you an idea of the order.
I love her colors, though. Her colors are so cool. But yours is going to be awesome.
So This is all of them. So it starts out. Let's get it close.
Do you have a picture though? I think that would be more helpful.
A picture of
like her blanket or like
example
what
of the
it's...
blanket.
Oh, okay.
Her
Yeah,
sampler.
yeah. So this is the only one I have at the moment. So this is like the style Katie is making, where you do a different. Mine is going to be more of this type of ombre.
Yeah, you're doing an ombre style because she did it 2 different ways.
Yeah, she calls it color wash.
How many rows of each color?
So you need 2 rows for the pattern repeat. So there'll be like 2 rows of this, and then 2 rows of this, then 2 rows of this, and then 2 rows of this. And then
so it's not like a mosaic.
No, okay. And then we'll move, and then it'll be 2 rows of this and 2 rows of this, 2 rows of this and 2 rows of this.
So you do all the color changes on one side.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Exactly.
That's gonna look great.
It's gonna be beautiful. What I'm doing is I got the pattern from the same place, but this one is called Spring Frost. But I'm not doing her colors either. What it was is I had bought a yarn kit called Northern Lights, and the pattern that came with the Northern Lights one was damaged somehow. It got wet, and so when I went to pull it out, it was stuck to the plastic and it destroyed the whole pattern. So I'm like, okay, what am I going to do with this yarn? And I got to thinking, let's go over to her website and find one I like, and I'm just doing it in a slightly different order. And I'm liking how it's coming out. So this is going to keep switching. So what on this one is like right now, I just started the salmon color. I think that's what color this is. This orange. No, you can see I did. Yeah, this pink color is watermelon. So you did 1 row here, then there's 2 rows here, and there'll be 1 more row. So it ends up being 1, 2, 3, 4. But you add a color in between it because you're going to keep switching these colors. And I've already done 1 row of this light orange. And after I finish this pink one, then I'm going to do 2 rows. And then I'm going to start a new color and then go back and switch back to this. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And so that's
I
why
love that pink color that you're working now. I love that color.
Yeah, it's a really nice color. And so now and with Northern Lights, we all know you see that curtain effect going on where you have green and then it starts doing other colors into it, and it changes as that curtain moves around. If you've ever seen Northern Lights, it's like a curtain.
I get them here from time to time.
Or you get streaks like we get, which is even more weirder.
Well, now it's definitely the wrong season to see them. It's too much daylight.
Yeah, too much daylight. I can't see nothing. Even with all the CMEs hitting the planet, we're missing out on the fun.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, when we were out on the boat, we went to bed, I think, the first night around 11 or 10 or 11 our time. And I'm laying in there and I'm like, it's daylight outside and I want to stay awake. I know, but we need to go to sleep because, and I finally drifted off a couple hours after he did. But the second night, he put an Anita Blake book on his phone and put one of his earbuds in my ears. And I fell asleep to that one. And we ended up going through, I think I slept 4 hours before I woke up the first time. And then I got up, went to the bathroom, and then it was like, oh, no, I can't go back to sleep because it's daylight outside. But I ended up going back to sleep, of course. But you always have to adjust yourself when you're out on a boat.
I've never been on a boat.
Never been on a boat ever?
Nope.
No kind of boat?
Nope.
I'm okay on the boat until we get out on open water, and then it rocks from side to side if there's a little bit of a wave going on in the water, and it's like, let me go throw up.
Yeah, it have to be big boats only, because they don't rock as much. So if it's a larger boat, that's fine. But the smaller boats,
Yeah.
the last time
fjord,
we
it's not
went, I
so
was
bad.
so ill.
Yeah. When we get in the fjord, I don't have any problems. It's when we cross over, there's areas where you leave one fjord to get into another fjord, and you're crossing the part of open water, the Atlantic, and it always messes with me. Always. And especially because I haven't been out much in the last 2 or 3 years.
Gotcha.
We had such a good time, you guys. It was just, oh my gosh. You know, I finally broke my cod drought. I am so happy about that. Because every time we go fishing, I would only catch what they call a bony fish. And it looks like it has angel wings on it. It's a really cool looking fish, but it's full of bones. And, I always was catching that, and I wouldn't catch any cod. And then Saturday, when we went fishing, oh my gosh.
I saw your pictures.
Yes.
I had a blast. Wait till you see the video. Y'all are going to laugh when you hear me. Because Nikolai videoed it.
Oh, good. It's going to be fun.
Yep. It should be live tomorrow or tonight at 12 a.m. my time, which would be 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Okay.
And then I'm working on the next set of videos that has to do with icebergs and stuff. And I also got some great video of when we were cleaning the fish, processing the fish. We were throwing the insides of the fish and the heads in the water. And so we were getting circled by seabirds, and there was a magnificent Greenland. Hey, Stacy, welcome. So anyway, there was a Greenlandic eagle, a mature one, and it was hilarious because all these seabirds were so small compared to the size of him, and they all thought that they could just chase him around, It was pretty funny. And finally, he's like, screw this, I'm just going to go sit on a rock for a while. Let's see. Laura says, I grew up in a small town along the Mississippi. I love boating. I never had an issue with seasickness. I also been on large ships in open ocean. I just love being on the water. It's just my stomach is an issue because I don't have my sea legs like my husband does. Nikolai's like, whatever, it don't bother him. But if I was out for more than 3 days, I do get my sea legs. And at night, go ahead.
No, it's just fascinating that it's very different from, I guess maybe it's a cultural thing, maybe it's a geographical thing, but the fact that boats isn't, I don't know. Like I grew up with boats. My dad has a bunch of boats. There's always, but then again, like Sweden has so many lakes and islands. It's just, I guess it's a bit different in that way. There's always been, every summer there's some type of boating excursion with whatever, a day out on the boat, fishing. It's just, that's what we do here.
I bet more of the population in Sweden owns boats like it does here in Greenland too. Here in Greenland,
possibly.
more of the population own boats than they do cars.
Well, do you have that many roads that doesn't get all snowed over?
I see this town that I'm in, which is a population of around 3,800, we're seeing more and more cars, but we're also seeing more and more ATVs these days. But people still over half the population has boats, and they don't have cars, So it's pretty interesting. But what when I was growing up in Florida, before my parents moved us to North Florida, my dad and mom took us fishing on a little small boat that they owned, and we went way back into the tributaries that were off the mighty St. Johns River, which run north and south of Florida. And so I spent time when I was young, but then when he moved to North Florida, all that fishing that we experienced growing up was gone. He wasn't doing it with us, and he didn't get himself and he actually bought him a big deep sea fishing boat, come to at some point, and he never invited any of us kids when we were grown adults to go out with them when he was doing that. So I wasn't exposed to any boats until I moved here. But it is a cultural thing, definitely.
Well, in Colorado, ours was more like camping, hiking, that type of thing.
Yeah. What about hunting? Because we had people in Florida that would go to Colorado just to kill a big rack deer.
Well, yeah, there's some hunting stuff, but we were never into that. I'm more in the city part, so.
City girl. One thing that I can say about going out on the boat that I love well, there's several things, but if I had to rank it 1 to 5, the things that I love most about going out on the boat is when we get so far out we're off grid, it's silence, total silence when you're out there in nature. You don't hear city life or town life or just noise. In our neighborhood, it's gotten quite noisy because they're back to blowing up rock again, which bothers me a lot. And then we go out to nature and it's so quiet and so peaceful. And like Saturday, I had my arms up in the air and I said, can you breathe this fresh air? Oh my God. It was just, I know, I sound crazy.
No, that would be great. I would love that so much.
And it was just all of it, and I guess that's why I always come back feeling rejuvenated. And of course, there's icebergs. I'll never get tired of icebergs. And Torben and Nikolai Nikolai doesn't roll his eyes, but Torben does. He's like, y'all are never gonna get. Are you ever gonna tire of them? I'm like, no. Him and Nikolai grew up with them, so it's like whatever, But for me and Ellie, I don't think we'll ever get tired of it because there's just something about it. Being by it and watching them crack apart and watching them flip upside down, or you come by and it's sitting this direction, then on our way back home it's flipped while we after we'd gone by it later in like the next day or something, and then Sunday when we passed by, oh look, it flipped over upside down again.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, so I don't know that I'll ever tire of it. I want to go to Ilulissat so bad because I want to see the skyscraper sized ones. And I also want to see the whales because a lot of the humpback whales hang out around those big icebergs eating constantly during the summer months.
That's
and we don't hardly see whales. There's whales down here, but they're so far and few between because most of them like the colder water around the icebergs.
Gotcha.
Let me see. Rhonda says she grew up on boats. Let me see here. I love being on or near water, says Stacy. Yeah, I love being near the water. It's just, that's why I like living down here on the lake. We took Nora to the lake this afternoon and she got tossed in the lake. She doesn't mind the water. She'll wade in it, but she's not Coda. You throw a ball, and I actually thought she was looking for us to throw a ball in the lake, and I'm not throwing a ball in the lake if she's not going to go fetch it. Coda would go and fetch it. She would just go stand up to her neck in water and bark at Coda while he was getting it.
What do you mean? You wouldn't go in and get the ball for them?
No.
Rude.
Maybe another month I might get in the water, but not right now. I have tried to get in the water, and last summer I could kick myself because we stuck our feet in the water last summer, and it's like, golly, this feels really warm, but I never did get around to it, and maybe this summer I'll try to get around to it. Maybe
Yeah,
in
it's
August.
warm in the surface.
Yeah, because the lake was definitely warm last year. And the lake's big. I mean, there's areas that's deep enough that I could go swimming in and be pretty happy about it. Nikolai doesn't know how to swim, you guys.
Oh,
Crazy to me.
He
Yeah,
works on a
especially
boat.
I know.
And
He
he
needs to be able to
grew up near the
swim.
water.
Well, you know, when they bail off ships during, like had that training this past summer, they have these immersion suits they put on. And it does have a device in it that keeps your head above the water. And he'll jump in the water knowing he can't swim. And he's not the least bit fearful of it. He just
I
doesn't
thought it
know.
was mandatory to be able to swim if you work on a boat.
No, not if you're can wear an immersion suit here in green. You cannot just go jumping in the fjord.
But then
here.
again, then he must be wearing that all the time on the boat.
Well, they wear two types of suits. There's a suit that they work in, but if there's an emergency, like when I can tell you a story. Me and Nikolai told me that there was this ship, and the captain was coming down here because he needed to have engine work done, and he had asked us if we wanted to go to the hot springs with him. And so Nikolai says, "What do you think about that?" So I said, "Okay." So we get on this. I think it was a 60-meter ship, I believe, but it was empty, so it was in the cargo hold. And we went to the hot springs. And when we left the hot springs, we had to stop in Nanaudilik because there was bad weather coming. And so we spent that night in port there. And then the captain, for whatever weird reason, decided he was just going to leave in the middle of the storm, even though he knew that there was something wrong with the ship's engine. And as soon as we got out on the water, I told Nikolai, I'm like, I'm going to throw up because the waves were so bad. I mean, it was literally just tossing us around like a cork. And he says, and so I took, and we had our dog with us on top of it. And so me and Ichi went down to our cabin, and I was in the cabin, and I'm thinking, oh my God, this is so bad, you know. And all of a sudden, I hear the engine sounded like they had given it more power. And then I heard this loud screeching noise. And then the ship died. I'm not kidding you. It went from having power to nothing. And I'm like, uh-oh, that don't sound good. And about 10 minutes later, Nikolai comes downstairs and he says, you need to go up top. And I'm like, no, I'm going to. And he had to raise his voice to get me to move because I was arguing with him about I wasn't going to get out of bed. And he had this serious look, and I didn't know what the heck was going on because I didn't feel scared. And so when I went upstairs, I'm sitting in the captain's chair watching these men run around like maniacs. And finally, Nikolai comes up. He says, I need you to put this suit on. And I said, okay. And he says, I'll help you put it on. And it was an immersion suit. And I got in the suit, and I'm sitting here, and I'm still totally oblivious that we're about to be in trouble. I could see that the ship was being pushed closer and closer to this outcropping of the mountain. And I'm thinking, golly, we're getting a little close here. But I still didn't feel scared. And so all of us were in these emergency suits. So whenever there's an emergency, you wear these suits. And basically, you know, we had a small boat came and got us. And I'm thinking, the waves are going to sink that little ship or little boat. I'm like, you know. But I didn't have a upset about it until after we got home. And then I realized that we were really in danger.
Oh.
We really were. We could have, you know, no propulsion. The ship could have sunk with us on it.
Wow.
It was crazy. But he thought that I would, you know, like most women, you've seen them. We see it on the movies all the time. Oh my God, we're gonna die, kind of thing. He thought that's what I would do. And it was shocking because I wasn't saying anything. I was just sitting there watching them. I'm like, I just couldn't understand what the big deal was, you know? And then when he told me, he says, I thought I might have to smack you if you had a meltdown, but you didn't have a meltdown. I'm like, you really would have hit me? If you were hysterical, I would have. Because we don't need hysterical people when it comes to emergencies. I'm like, well, you got a point there.
Right.
I said, but I didn't feel unsafe. And then when I realized that we could have, you know, it could have went a different way, then I had my meltdown, but I had the meltdown at home. I just had tears. That's what the meltdown was. But even when I think about back then, think about it when we're talking about it now, it really wasn't. I don't really think I still comprehend the magnitude of how much trouble we really were in. Because you have a 60-meter ship that has no propulsion, nothing, no power, no nothing. And the waves were so bad that day, it was crazy.
Wow.
And Nikolai experiences those kind of wave actions all the time when he's at sea. When Mother Nature's angry. And she was angry that day when we were on the water.
One of those people. I'm pretty calm in a crisis.
Yeah, I think that's how I am too. I might get quick to anger sometimes, but when it comes to something like an emergency, not so much. Like I guess maybe I didn't freak out because I'm so used to being in hurricanes, and hurricanes in Florida were no big deal as far as I was concerned.
Yeah, I can't think and panic at the same time. So
Yeah.
If I need to be able to think, I will suppress the panic and I will. And I've been in enough little situations to test it. But
yep. You can't have a panic attack in the middle of, a dangerous situation anyway. Or you shouldn't, unless you're just a candy butt.
And then some of us, like, I don't know if Andi, if you have children or not, but like,
no.
Or like a pet or something like that, and you see something happen to your pet or to your child, and it's like either you're gonna panic and start screaming, or you're gonna stay calm so you know what action to take to make sure that your loved one is okay.
Exactly. Yes.
We need you guys talking in the chat. What y'all want? Let's talk about the poll for a minute. I put a poll up that says, what do you prefer doing the most in relation to using yarn or fiber? I put knitting as option 1, crocheting option 2, other fiber crafts using yarn for option 3, and for option 4, I don't make things with yarn. So far, there's been 37 votes. 16% said knitting, 59% have said crocheting, 5% have said other fiber crafts using yarn, and then 19% said they don't make things with yarn. That's pretty cool.
I would kind of assume that there would be, well, I don't know if that would, maybe I'm just thinking about like what type of audience I expect you to have, and I would expect more quilters than maybe fiber people, but then you can do both. I just think that I don't make things with yarn. I thought that the percentage would be higher.
Yeah, I did too. But apparently, a lot of quilters that are part of this community actually crochet or knit, and I find it. And some of them do cross stitch and embroidery, and that's another type of fiber.
Yep.
So there's all of those little things going on at the same time. Robin says, panic only makes your response null and void. Yes, it does.
I don't know. I've been through enough stuff to know there's no reason to panic, because then you can't think straight.
Exactly.
Yep. And it makes things worse. My issue is I get angry about things. When something's going on and people are doing stupid stuff when you shouldn't be doing stupid stuff when you've been told not to. Well, like, let's give an example about hurricanes. People are out there, you see it all the time. They're out there on the coast in the wind, and you're like, golly, you people are so dumb.
Right.
And then when someone gets washed away, then they're all butthurt and whining about it,
Exactly.
Like, well, if you didn't put yourself in that position to start with, you wouldn't have that happen to you.
Play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get it when people can't leave, and when I hear people put down people who don't leave when they're told to leave. There's a lot of people who can't just up and get in a car and leave.
Exactly.
For several reasons. One reason is maybe they don't own a car. Number two, maybe they're too old to drive a car. Number three, they don't have the money that most people have to go get in a car and go north. I mean, there's this enormous, or maybe they live too far away from a shelter and don't have the gas to go drive to a shelter. I mean, there's lots of reasons why you wouldn't leave your home.
Yep.
Some people can't leave home with their own power. They need assistance just to leave their house.
Exactly.
You know?
Now, I know that when we were in South Florida, we lived in a town called Christmas, Florida, and you have the East Coast, which was where Cape Kennedy's at. Then you have the St. John's River, and then you have Christmas. So I can remember one time that there was a hurricane, I guess, sitting off the coast over there when we were living down there, and where we lived at was a low-lying area, and oh my God, the water was so bad. But if my dad hadn't have Dad must have had a forethought of things, because he put ditches all the way around that property. It was 2 acres, so there was a ditch on all 4 sides, and he had a small pond on the back side of it. And whenever there was too much water, it would drain into that. But they would be water standing for months after a hurricane come. It may not have come inland. It would just skirt the coast, but it would dump so much rain.
Gotcha.
But living in a mobile home is a bad idea when it comes to hurricanes.
Oh, yeah.
Or tornadoes, for that matter. But sometimes that's all people can afford.
Right.
Have you seen the price of mobile homes these days?
Yes.
We went and looked at a couple, and I can't believe how expensive they've become. It's crazy.
Yeah, they used to be an affordable option, but
yeah, and they still depreciate in value just like a car does.
I know, which is unreal.
Yeah. And the lot fees just to have it on a lot is ridiculous.
Yep.
Right. Like if you don't own your land, or if you don't, finance your own land, yeah, it's ridiculous. And then they can just keep raising it and raising it and raising it. There are people that can't afford their mobile homes out here because they can't afford the lot rent.
Yep.
Yeah, look at these colors.
Oh, very nice.
Pretty.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
But it's more blue in there than I expected. It didn't look
Yeah.
as blue.
It looks
Very cool.
great.
I like
variegated yarn, or are you changing colors?
No, it's the chameleon menagerie big twist. So it's variegated.
I like that.
Look at that. That's pretty.
So
It
pretty.
reminds me of like this ocean and a forest. It's very nature to me. It's giving me.
Yes. Yeah, I have 8 different menageries, so I want to make one of each kind.
Laura says, I'm great in a crisis as long as it isn't my crisis. Stacy says, I only crochet a bit. And Robin says, cruel embroidery, regular embroidery, cross stitch and counted cross stitch, etc. So she does that. Robin says, I've been to a few hurricane parties. So have I. When I was an adult. And then Robin says, the backside of a hurricane is the dirty side, where you get the yeah, exactly, where you get the most damage. I remember we had a hurricane that was off the west coast, sitting in the Gulf of Mexico. Her name was Hurricane Elaine, and I think that was 1984, I want to say. And we had a hurricane party because she was supposed to come into Big Bend, is where she was supposed to come in on Florida. And she sat out there for over 2 weeks doing absolutely nothing but dumping rain. And you're like, okay, I'm so over this.
those are the storms that affect us the most. At least where I live in North Carolina, the ones that just sit and dump rain, they are just traumatic.
Yep. They are such
There's just so many rivers and lakes in my area that the flooding is just it's horrendous.
And it's the same effect if the hurricane doesn't pass over Florida, but it ends up like going in say Louisiana, and then it runs up and skirts over and crosses over Georgia, and it fills up the Okefenokee Swamp and some other stuff. Those rivers will then dump into the Swanee River, and we'll have flooding in Florida, and we never had any of the storm in Florida. It definitely overloads the rivers.
My kids can't go to school, which is doubly tragic.
Oh.
Yep. You're like, okay, we're gonna get on mom's nerves, whining about having absolutely nothing to do because it's pouring down rain outside.
We had really weird weather today. It's June. We usually have iffy weather in like April and maybe in the beginning of May. But today it was raining a little bit, and then it was just like all sunny, some clouds. And then I walked out to meet my brother at the bus, and it just started to rain. And during the time I was waiting for the bus, it was like 5 minutes. It went from sunny to raining like I don't even know. And then all of a sudden, hail. And then the hail disappeared, and it just continued raining. And then he came with the bus, and then we went inside, and sun was back out. I was like, what's up with the weather? Like, who's being moody today? Hailstorm and sun even from the side. Like, there was sun over like across the fields. So hailstorm in the middle of rain and sun. I don't even.
You could be in Florida, Amanda, and it'd be raining across the road and sunshine across the other side of the road, and you're not getting wet while everything's getting wet on the other side.
Yeah. We have that here too.
Well, we say in Colorado we have bipolar weather because in one day you can go from rain, you can have snow, you can have hail, sun, everything in one day.
Well, we do get that, but not in June. You know, we can get that in spring and fall, but not in the summertime.
Oh yeah, no, we can get it in June.
So we got some comments up here. Looky here. Laura says, I don't know what it's like to experience a hurricane, but I have seen the damage created by tornadoes, and it's devastating. And then Stacy says, sounds like a typical British day. And then Robin says, Laura, hurricanes are the big brother with rain compared to a tornado. I have a saying about tornadoes and a hurricane. Tornadoes are Mother Nature when she's really pissed off and she wants to clean house right now. Hurricanes are Mother Nature when she wants to clean house, but she's going to take her sweet beloved time doing it. And hurricanes are so beautiful sometimes. I mean, I know y'all are going to fuss at me because I think they're beautiful, but I have always followed hurricanes just about my whole life. And I've learned so much by following them, but some of them, oh my God, they are so gorgeous when you look at them on the satellite. There was one, I think it was Hurricane Hugo. He would every time he would recycle his eye, he would have two eyes, and you could see the two eyes on the satellite. It was the coolest thing I'd ever seen.
I'll never forget Hugo because it was like one of the few hurricanes that hit where I lived in New York when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Hugo was a long time ago.
Yeah, long time ago, back in the 90s, I think, or 2000.
Yeah, because I lived like an hour north of Manhattan, and we didn't get hurricanes very often. But when Hugo came, we got a piece of that storm.
He was one big storm too. I think he was. Yeah. If I remember right, he was 750 miles across, and the eye was something like only 20 miles across. It was a really compact eye, but the outside of him was humongous.
Yeah.
Kind of like Katrina was. Because Katrina had a small, tight eye, but my God, she was huge.
Yeah, Katrina that's the one that I remember the most because I was in college and we did all the research on it.
Yeah. She was one heck of a storm. I never thought I'd see. And, you know, we've seen other storms pretty, you know, nasty, but there's just some of those that'll stick out in your mind. You're like, I remember this about this storm, and I remember this about that storm. You know, they all do damage, but they're just some of them. There was something special about them that stuck in your mind.
Floyd was I lived in
Yeah,
different
Floyd was
part of
another
North
one.
Carolina. Floyd was devastating. It
Yep.
was so devastating to the state of North Carolina. It dumped so much rain that where I lived, when I walked 2 blocks down, like the park where I used to take my daughter was underwater. All the buildings near that park were completely underwater. My job was like I think maybe an 8-story building or a 6-story building. The first 3 stories were underwater. The
Oh,
building
wow.
I worked in was only 1 story. That entire building was underwater. It was like there were areas that have never recovered still to this day. And that was like 2001, 2000, something like that.
Something like that. Yep.
Hi, Michael.
Hi, Michael.
Is that MD8, MDL? That's who Michael is?
Yes.
Hello, welcome to my channel. First time I've seen you here. And did I just see, oh, Shirley from Alaska's here. Welcome, welcome. Denise, and hi, Denise. I think the weather patterns pretty much repeat itself annually. I kind of expect a certain type of weather based on the season. My local meteorologists are close to accurate on a daily basis. I'm kind of curious to see what kind of hurricane season there's going to be this year, especially for Florida.
I think they said they're predicting 10 to 16 storms.
16 is a lot. I'm wondering how many major ones they're thinking, though. Right now, the knock on wood, the tropics seem to be a bit quiet. I think the water might still be too cold. Although they might be a Gulf storm since that water's already heated up over there.
Okay. Yeah.
Guess we'll have to wait and see what happens, you know.
I am in love with this yarn.
Is
Sorry.
it soft?
I'm glad
It's so
you
soft. Yeah. I finally got to play with it. I have so much of it.
It's Big Twist what?
The menagerie. I've been holding on to it for a while and I finally get to make my first wearable. I'm so
You said
excited.
that there was a couple of different colors and you had them all. Do you have them all so that you can show the other colors?
Yeah. Let me grab a few.
All right, where the hell is the post at on here? Oh, I'm not doing a post here yet. Duh. Uh-oh, I think I did something wrong. Maybe. No, I think I started this on the wrong side, I think. Yep, I did. I started this on the wrong side. This needs to be on this side.
Did you do a lot of wrong or just?
I went to start it on the wrong side. I just needed to unhook it and start it on the right side because I needed to be doing a post. And I can't do the post if I'm on the back side of it. That would be.
So it wasn't that much that you needed to undo.
No, I had just hooked onto it. So all I had to do was unhook it. So, yeah, it's all good. It's all good. Not.
Okay, I think I have them all.
Okay, can we get her big now? I want to see yarn.
Okay. Who are we getting big?
Andi has
Andi.
yarn.
Let's get you spotlighted. There we go.
Okay, you obviously can't get these anymore right now because Joann's is closed, but I'm sure people might have some available online.
And I can't get him anyway, so I'm just gonna sit here and drool.
Okay. So
And
the
if
one
you get online, they're probably astronomically priced.
maybe, yeah. That chameleon colorway is so pretty. Got all of that as well. Yes. This is the one that they decided matched my eyes the best. It's one of my favorites. But I do have, I want to say, I think I scored at least 5 of each one. And
Ooh,
some of them I
nice.
have 10 of each. So, yes.
10 of
So,
each.
yes.
Wow.
So I have some hummingbird.
Oh, that's pretty.
Nice. That's
And
really nice.
this is one of my favorites. This one is Sunbeam Snake.
Oh, yeah,
Ooh.
those are my colors. The pink and the green are always going to get me.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then I love this one. I have a bunch of this gray fox.
Ooh, that's going to be
Ooh.
pretty.
And then I have a bunch of this one. It's called Flamingo because they had a bunch at the time and I didn't know if I'd be able to get any more. So, of course, I got a bunch.
At least you got enough to finish any project you want, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, the parrotfish is very pretty. The rose finch. Look at this
Nice.
one.
That's pretty. Yeah, that's pretty. I thought the pink and purple was gonna, the pink and green was gonna be my favorite, but no, I think I like that one.
Yep. The rosy maple moth.
Nice.
That's pretty too.
Yes. I think I have a few. Yeah, and here's the parrotfish. Yeah, this is the one that Michael was just talking about. I love the parrotfish as well. And then I have another blue one. I think I have one more color that might be in the bottom. I have so much. Yeah, Michael will only have the Posh and the Baby Bear, Pound Plus. Yep. But I mainly use the Posh, so I'm very excited about the Posh. But so I might have, there might be one more colorway. I might be missing one colorway, but I have to sort my yarn. So if I find it, I'll let you know.
I really like how those yarns look, but there was honestly none of them that really was like my colors. So I'm not sad that I can't get that yarn because it's not something that I'm really like overly drooling about.
Did I
They're
show
pretty,
you
but
this
it's
one?
not. Yes, it's
They're-
really pretty, but it's not like, yay, I need you. I'm surprised about my own reaction.
Well, I'm in a kind of hippie phase right now, so they're very hippie-ish to me.
There is a tie-dye vibe that they have.
Right, yes. So I'm all about the like little shrugs and stuff, so I want to make a bunch of shrugs with them.
Good plan.
Yes. So I'm hoping that this one will turn out great, and then I think I want to design a skull shrug.
Hey, Sylvia. Okay, so let's catch up on the chat real quick. Michael says nice. Parrotfish is nice too. Robin says try Michael's. Denise, Laura says to Denise, yes, there's not much notice with tornadoes, seconds, maybe minutes if you're lucky. That's very true. And Michael says Michael's will only have big twist Posh, big twist Baby Bear, big twist Pound Plus, and big twist Twinkie. And Laura Sup says, Andi, very nice. Sylvie says, hello, I'm doing EPP while I listen and watch when I can. And Denise says, what color is that gray and pink you just held up, Andi?
Was that the flamingo?
That one's the rose finch.
Yes, that's the one.
And then Shirley says, gotta go start dinner prep, green chili chicken enchiladas.
Ooh.
And Laura says, Shirley, I'm hoping that Michael's purchase of Joanne's will be a positive thing.
We'll see.
But didn't you say that one of the colors was flamingo?
Yes. The flamingo is this one.
The pink and gray.
Oh, the very
That's
pink.
Well, she said gray and pink, so that's the one I thought. But I
thought it was like the tea rose. It's the one on the right? That's the one she's talking about.
The very bright pink was flamingo, and the other one was
rose finch.
Yeah.
In case she wants to know both, I don't know, but
yeah, I really like that rose finch a lot.
Yeah.
I avoided Joanne's.
Early.
When they were going out of business, I tried to avoid them. I still bought yarn. I just went to other places and bought yarn that I wanted because I was afraid that if I stepped into a Joanne store, that I would buy stuff and then I would be stuck with it, or I would buy stuff just because it was there and not because I actually wanted it. So I avoided Joanne's like the plague for the last 60 days.
Did I tell you what happened when I went for my last one?
No, what happened?
So when I went for my last one, because I used to be a manager at the one that was by me, and I had to leave when I became the full-time caregiver for my grandma through hospice, and she had asked me to not go back and to do my business full-time, which is what I've been doing. And so they ended up finding my name tag. They still had it, so they gave it back to me.
Wow.
So I was like, okay, I guess I'll turn it into a Christmas ornament for my tree, like my Blockbuster name or my Blockbuster card. So now
nice.
Yeah, so I still have I was like, aw, I still have my name tag from Joanne's.
That's funny.
I think it's kind of awesome that you still have that stuff.
Yeah. It's like a nice little relic. I still have my apron too, but I've always used it as my gardening apron because it's like perfect.
Let's see here. Hey, Zaza, welcome.
Hi, Zaza.
I love your name. Sounds like we should be friends. The inappropriate quilter.
It lives in Scotland, Amanda.
I just felt like that was a name that really spoke to me. Really feels like, we should be friends.
She has a really cool name, just like Giovanna does, that lives in Italy.
Oh, yep. I'm hiding in the corner.
Andi's being sneaky and secretive.
Always.
You never know what's going to come up.
Yeah, it was funny. I was making my leather face last night, and if anybody watches my channel, you know how much I hate making hair. And we ended up naming him Midlife Face because he had bald spots.
Uh-oh.
Oh, that's funny.
It was hilarious. I was very proud of myself.
So what did everybody do this weekend while I was off grid? Inquiring minds want to know. What did you do over the weekend?
Exhaust myself.
Today is Tuesday, but I didn't have a live yesterday, so I couldn't ask that question. And yesterday I did absolutely nothing.
I actually got half of my plants replanted and potted because it stopped raining for a few days.
Oh, cool. I had fun driving a car today. My boss, I mentioned earlier that she was needing help. And she says, I need someone who has a driver's license. Any of y'all got driver's license? And Nikolai's like, my wife does. She has a Greenlandic driver's license. And I guess Bitsy didn't realize I did. But I got
Is
the
that
driver's
is that not a common thing?
Well, my husband doesn't have one because he never took the time to get one. He's always at sea. So he never thought to take the time to buy one or get one. And besides, if you just do it on your own and not through like like a company you work for, it's more expensive. I got mine because I was doing the Arctic guide courses at the college. And one of the requirements was you must get your driver's license. So they paid for all the stuff to go, and it turns out that I didn't have to take the written test because originally they were going to have to hire a translator to read my test and me answer verbally the answers. And after some him and hawing back and forth, they're like, this woman has been driving since she was 15 years old. This is ridiculous. Just give her the science test, give her a driving test, and be done with it. So that's what they did. No written test. Because it was, it would have been stuff I already knew the answer to anyway, And he had already told him she drives very well for someone who's been driving her whole life and never drove on, on these types of roads. Like I was driving an automatic car, not an automatic, a stick. Do you know how many times I stalled the car at a stop sign with him? Several. How many times did I stall it up on top of Princess Mountain because he'd have me go up there and do a turnabout up there, and I would stall it every freaking time. And finally he says, I take it you haven't had many hours in a stick shift. I'm like, no. I know how to drive one, but stalling it is something I do because I haven't had enough hours. He says, well, I'm going to teach you how not to stall it.
Oh, well, hey, good.
And he did. I got where when I got up to the stop sign, I was not stalling in the darn car.
That is actually, very interesting. Here, the majority of cars is stick shift. Automatic cars actually weighs more. I don't know exactly how that is, but it's, they are heavier. And here we have road tax is dependent on weight and how much, toxic fumes. So the more, the heavier car will be more expensive, therefore stick shifts are more affordable.
Yeah, a lot of them still drive sticks here, but the car I drove today was a Volvo automatic, so I didn't have to deal with that. Thank God. But she needed help, so she drove the ATV and I drove her car. And we kept loading, and then we had two people. It was Nikolai and another one at the harbor loading both vehicles up, and then she had two people at the storage unit helping to unload, and then I didn't stand aside and watch them unload. I was over there unloading too, which means we worked a lot faster than they intended. That she thought it was. I knew she thought it. Apparently, it takes a while to do that amount of work. But because of me and Nikolai, and we don't mess around when it comes to that kind of stuff, we were pushing it. And I'm like, let's hurry and get this done, man.
Oh, yeah, let's get it done and over with.
Yeah, let's get it done. Let's no screwing around,
Automatic cars are also more expensive to buy new here as well.
Very expensive. That's why we don't have a car. It's cheaper to use taxi service, period.
It's the same in the States. A manual is cheaper than an automatic, but just in general, most of us don't know how to drive a stick. So we pony up the extra money to get the automatic because it's all we know how to drive for the most part. But the manual is definitely less expensive here.
We have two different driver's licenses here. If you, for your driver's license test, do a stick shift, you can drive any car you want that,
Yeah, that's what I got.
Within weight limits and whatnot. But if you do the test on an automatic, you can only drive automatic. You're not allowed to use stick shifts.
Yeah, and
Same.
that's what he told me. He says, I already know you can drive an automatic, but you must learn how to drive one of these. And I'm like, okay, then we will learn how to drive one of these.
Well, my grandpa taught me how to drive on a stick shift because that's what the first car I got was. And that's the only time I ever heard him swear at me.
Guys was teaching me, you know, helping me because I was only having trouble, like I said, stalling it when we slow down. He had the patience of Job because you could, if you see how many times, like the first 3 days I was stalling, it was crazy. I knew how to drive one, I just didn't know how to coast up to a stop sign without, because you know, Florida's flat for the most part.
Oops.
Driving a stick, you're not, when you go up to a stop sign, most of the time you're not going to stall a car because it's flat. But when you get to a stop sign here, it's in an upward angle, you know, and it's like, yeah. Trying to figure out how to keep your foot on the brake and on the clutch at the same time.
You know, you can use your hand brake for that. Just, yeah.
That's what he said. Use the hand brake. Like, oh. Didn't know.
I talked to my stepdad recently. I was like, could I borrow your car for something coming up? And he's like, yeah, I hope you're not going to burn my clutch. I was like, it's not my mom you're talking to because she's master at burning clutches. I was like, hey, no, it's not mom you're talking to. He's like, oh, right. Yeah, that's true. I was like, what did you expect?
Zaza says manual cars are more fun to drive.
They are. I've heard that. I've heard that they are.
Let's see. Stacy says same in the UK, and Robin says I learned to drive a stick, and then Zaza says I hope your fur baby is doing well too. To Zaza, and then Zaza says manual cars are fun to drive, and then Laura says my husband has a Camaro 6-speed. I love driving it. Oh, I would love driving a Camaro too. I would be getting speeding tickets in it. And then stitching in the interlake. What is your first name, please? Says not in Canada. Like I said, I drove big rigs across Canada and the US. Wow.
Oh.
And then Zaza says, Laura, he's going for surgery tomorrow. He needs teeth out, but his heart condition, but has a heart condition, but he's not eating, so we have to. The surgery is a big risk. Oh, I hope it goes well, Zaza.
Yeah, I hope it goes well, Zaza. I wish you the best. I'll say a little prayer.
Yep, same here. Sylvia says, I drove a manual in San Francisco. You have to learn fast. Yes, you do there. Oh my God, driving there is crazy. And then Muriel says, if you can't find them, then grind them. Being the gears, laugh out loud. That's what my dad said about stick shifts. And hi, Eva. Welcome to the channel. It's nice to meet you. So
4 cars.
I forgot to give y'all an update on my granddaughter. I have a story to tell you about my granddaughter. You know, she was having surgery Friday because I told everybody. And I didn't have a live yesterday, so y'all aren't aware of how things went. So all weekend I was like, oh, she's okay, you know. So Friday, she went in for surgery, and Lynette told me that she was a little bit feisty before they were getting ready to take her into the surgery. So she was crying a little bit. And so Lynette was laying up on the bed with Ava while they were wheeling them through the hallway. And her husband, Eric, which is Ava's dad, Lynette's like, are you all right? And he was mumbling something, wasn't making any sense. And he turned like 3 circles. He fainted.
Oh.
Fainted?
He fainted. And what it was is Ava was having a little bit of a meltdown in the hospital atmosphere because they were on their way to surgery, and it was just the whole thing. And she said, honey, you need to sit down. And he went to sit down, and she watched his eyes roll up in the back of his head. And he fainted.
Oh.
I'm like, okay. But anyway, Ava's surgery went really well. She was she wasn't in too much pain after the surgery the first day. I think the second day she was having like delayed stuff, but she wanted to talk to me. She didn't want to talk to Grandpa. She wanted to talk to Mom. Lynette says, Ava wants to FaceTime with you. I'm like, she does? Yep, she's asking for you. And so we got on FaceTime. And let me tell you what, for about 30 minutes, we were talking, but I was also talking to her mom. And at some point, she says, I want to talk to Grandma by myself. Only she calls me Anna, which is Greenlandic for Grandma. And she totes the tablet into her room. And Lynette gets the tablet all set up so that I could see her. And then here she is. She's building Legos and carrying on a conversation with me. And you could see that she was, you know, a little out of sorts, but she wasn't ready to get off the tablet to talk to me. It was so cute. And this is the second time where she's just wanted to talk to me, and, you know, just out of the blue, you know, and it makes me happy because I haven't got to spend a lot of time with her. You know, I got to spend a little bit of time with her last year when we went. And, you know, I still feel like she doesn't know me well enough, and she loves Nikolai too, but she really wanted to talk to me. That's who she wanted to talk to. It was,
and that's how you know that you've still got that connection, even though you don't get to see her as much as you want.
Yep. Yep. And she's been talking to me on and off. Even when she was a little bit younger, she would talk to me. She, you know, she turned 5 3 or 4 days ago. And she just finished preschool, but before she went to preschool, she could already write her name, count to 100, and she knew all her colors. That's how quick she is with stuff.
Oh,
She's
awesome.
very, very intelligent. Lynette, there's a school, I can't remember the name of the school, but it's a school for more kids who are very young, who seem to be intellectually ahead of other kids. And it's a special kind of school, but it's a small population school, so you have a waiting list. So right now she's in the number 4 spot, so she's still waiting. So I don't know if she'll end up there through part of her kindergarten year or not, or she'll do kindergarten and end up placing for 1st grade. We don't know.
Well, I don't know if they still do this, but back in the day, they would bump you up.
Yep. And that might happen too, because she's pretty ahead of everyone. Wait.
I was mad at my mom for years because they wanted me to skip 3rd grade, and she wouldn't let me.
So Stitching the Interlace typed her name EVA, and maybe I said Eva to start with, but is it Eva or Ava? She says, that's how I say my name. So I'm wondering if it's not Ava, because I mentioned my granddaughter being named Ava.
Well, I'm thinking, like, where's she from? Because in Swedish you would pronounce it Eva.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So maybe it's just, you know, pronunciation due to location.
Yeah, exactly. Can't always assume it's Eva. So it might be Ava. How about that? Zaza says, wait a minute. Laura says, Zaza, I'm so sorry. My Yorkie has to have 12. Oh my God. 12 weeks. She's not high risk, but did well. I hope everything goes well for your baby. And Sylvia says, those in the know. And then Zaza says, Laura with a heart. Ava says, that's how I say my name. Laura says, I learned to drive a standard shift in a small town on the Mississippi. Every road is a hill. It'd be nicknamed the San Francisco of the Midwest. Yeah, there you go. Then Denise says, fainting can happen to anyone. I only had it twice and can't explain it. It just occurred and it doesn't feel good. Yeah, I think that Eric has fainted before giving blood or something. And Muriel says gifted. That's what they're called. Okay, gotcha. And Zaza says, Katie, I'm glad her surgery went well. Yeah, it went really well. Her adenoids were very large from what the doctor told Lynette. So, and Lynette said that she'd go and check on Ava because she has a monitor in her room that she has in their bedroom too, so she's near Ava. And she said that it worried her because she couldn't hear Ava breathing because she was so noisy when she slept. She would go in there and check on her. She was just breathing peacefully, no snoring, no nothing. And I said, that's how it was when Thomas had his surgery. Once he had that, the whole thing changed. What? What? No, noisy girl.
Time for hand stretchies.
Yes.
You wake up? Yep. Yeah, I'm happy that it went very well. I was a little concerned, Lynette asked me if anyone was anesthesia sensitive. I said, nope. The only problem I had with anesthesia is when I would first wake up, I felt like I couldn't breathe. And so they would give me a nebulizer treatment, and then I was fine. I've already given her one chicken leg, babe, so all you have to do is give her another one and an egg. She's fine. Go see Daddy. Go, Daddy.
Hell no.
They heard that.
Did you say go to daddy or who's your daddy? Because
Who's
that
your
I
daddy?
wasn't really sure.
No, I said go to Daddy.
Okay.
And this guy's like saying something else.
Hi, ladies.
Hello.
Can y'all hear? They say hi back, babe.
I hear it.
Okay.
Nikolai.
He's not dressed. That's why he hasn't come in here and, well, he doesn't have a shirt on is what it
Oh.
is. And he's freaking out. He's got pants on. He just doesn't have a shirt on. Because it's too warm in here.
Did you tell them about the fishing adventure?
I did tell him about the fishing adventure. It was lots of fun. I told him that the video will be out at 12 a.m. our time, which is 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So about the video. When you go watch the video, when you see me starting to catch a fish, y'all need to pay attention to what's going on in the water. When you hear me say the comment, look, he's looking at me, and if you didn't look to see what I was talking about, you will miss it. Make sure you watch that part because you're going to be like, oh my God. So what the deal is when we hauled the fish in, there was more cod down there in the water, and one came up and he literally looked at me. And so you'll hear me say, he's looking at me. And you'll see what I mean because he's huge. And I told Nikolai, he's like, you didn't catch me.
How funny.
It was pretty hilarious that day because in fact, the video shows us losing my first fish. And then you see me catching another one. And so before the day was out, I caught 5 fish, but I lost 2. Nikolai caught 4 fish and lost 3. And what was happening was either A, they were breaking the line, or B, they were somehow or another, they would get hooked on that big chunk of bait, and then the whole thing would go with them. And they wouldn't go, and some of them were like my third one I caught, he was this big, and I'm not exaggerating. And then Torben, Torben's in a dinghy, and he drops an anchor right in the middle, and you got this current coming in because it's the high tide's rolling in. So what's happening is where we're at, the water's rolling in because of high tide coming in, and all these cods know that when the high tide comes in, it's going to bring food with it. So they're all congregating across that waterway. And so that's why we kept snagging them as fast as it was. And it right in the middle of the water is Torben in a dinghy. And he has this drag line that has like 3 hooks on it. And all he's doing is, and it has colorful bait on it so they can see it. And he's just doing like this in the water. And we're up on the bank doing our fish, and it's totally hilarious what's going on. And every time, like several times, I don't know, I can't tell you how many he actually caught, but he lost about as many as he caught. He kept snatching off the bait. It was hilarious. And you had the current playing into it, which was making it hard too.
Do you have the same thing over there? Like there's a joke about people that go fish here that when they're trying to, talk about how big their fishes are, every time they show it, it just gets bigger and bigger between their
Yeah,
hands.
there was that.
Yeah.
Because Torben says, my fish is bigger than your fish. And I couldn't tell how big that one was. There was one big one he got. And I still thought mine was bigger. But when we got back to the boat, because he came back and got us, and he left that one laying out on the back of the boat, and I looked and I'm like, oh crap, he's right. His is bigger than mine. So it was a big thing between me and him about whose fish was bigger.
There's even a song here about like when the fisher is out, his arms are not enough to tell how the size of the fish, but in reality it might have been like this, but then
Yeah.
when he's finished telling the story, his arms are not enough because the fish was just that big. The monstrosity. You've never seen a fish this big. So yeah, there's a song.
Yeah. Well, and there was a thing between me and Torben about fishing. When I first went fishing with him, I caught a cod that was probably about 8 or 9 inches long, maybe 10 inches. And he took it from me and he threw it back in the water. And I'm standing there like, why did you do that? He says, when they're this little, you throw them back in the water. I'm like, why? He says, because we want the young ones to get bigger. You only catch the big ones. This is a ethical thing for Greenlanders. So something I was learning that I didn't know about. And so when we were fishing Saturday, he made a comment. He says, you can catch any fish you want to. I'm not going to get onto you if you keep one. Because he knew I would not catch a small fish. He knew that. It was pretty hilarious. He also caught something called a sausage fish. I think that's what it was called.
Sausage
Heard of
fish?
that.
I don't know. Let me see if I can find a picture of one. It's a weird looking thing. It is saltwater, so I should be able to find it. Or let me see if I can find a picture of it. Unless someone in here knows what it is.
Hi, Fire and Water Design.
Hey,
Thank
Fire
you.
and Water, what's your name? First name. You don't have to give me your old name. Just your first name. Peas. Nora. I'll take care of either that or she needs to go outside one. Do you need to go shoo-shoo? No? Do you need a shoo-shoo? That might have been a yes. Hang on a second. Let's see. Saltwater. They call it sausage here, but Nikolai might actually know the actual name of it. But I've seen it on other people's fishing videos too.
Not too much into fishing, but Adrian loves it.
Oh, I can't. Hang on, let me see if I can get my husband to find a picture of one.
Stacy, why no comment? I'm curious.
Yeah, hang on, y'all. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go ask.
What are you working on, Fire and Water? Or Meltum? Meltum? Is that the name of the fish? Or is that your first name?
So I can show them.
I got the little snaggeroo.
Oh no.
Rude.
Oh, the sausage fish? Oh, why no comment on the sausage fish, Stacy?
Yes, Stacy.
I am curious. Where did your mind go? I am very curious. Intrusive thoughts much, perhaps?
Now the next live, Amanda will have a sausage fish all crocheted up.
Yep. Sausage fish.
to go with my blowfish
Mhm.
Yep.
and my hammerhead shark.
Yep. We know you.
I know me. I think that's the worst part of it all.
We'll keep on trying to get me to crochet a hot dog, and I'm like, no, I'm good. This is not going anywhere good.
No reason. Stacy, Stacy, Stacy.
I think it's raining. Is it raining? No, it's not supposed to rain today.
But you're inside.
I know.
You're safe. You're not gonna melt.
I know, but I just watered my plants.
He's sending it to me on Messenger. So hang on a second when I download it.
Had my
Sorry.
gutters cleaned today, so I'm hoping we'll manage the rain a little better.
Nice.
All right, let me see if I can go get it from my Messenger. Hold on a minute, y'all.
I
Don't
heard
go back.
flow, sausage,
For
head,
those of you who
and
have
fish.
naughty minds, try not to go there.
Yeah, Stacy.
I feel like I'm a bit of an instigator here. Just me.
There's a picture of someone holding it in the hand, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, oh boy, that's gonna stir up something. When he showed it to us, he's like, "You want this?" I'm like, no.
Is that the one that they like they eat for views on TikTok?
I don't know about the TikTok part, but I do know I've seen them a couple times on. I've watched. There's a couple guys that are Danish that has a show on. What's this? That
I'm
public.
sorry.
And they're always eating strange things, and I've seen them eat that particular one.
Are we talking about fermented herring?
They're always eating. What, you mean the name of the show?
No, like they're eating weird stuff. I'm just like, if they're eating
Well,
fermented
they're
herring,
not-
that's gonna be
they're
fun.
yeah, they're hunters and fishermen. So they're always out. These shows are always about them out hunting, and sometimes they eat things like raccoons or some strange fish. And I think I've seen them eat this particular one we're talking about. Hang on, I'm gonna see what's going on. I thought he would have sent it by now.
Stacy went there. We're cleaning the gutters. Yep. Yep. No. Yeah, that's. But Chaunda was the one that cleaned the gutters. So.
Yes.
Mm.
Amanda, could you spread out your project so I can see it?
You want to see more of it?
Yes.
No, I'm just watching. She crochets. Y'all crochet so fast too.
But I'm working with the four-weight worsted Aran, a thick yarn,
I
which I
know.
normally don't. But today, yeah, I want this to become a huge blanket. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a lot thicker than you normally work with, but
Yep.
it's really turning out great. And I'm
It
like,
I
really
started
is.
this morning, so I've done this today.
I know.
That's what I meant by speed. Just how fast your hands move.
I'm gonna share.
And then we're gonna get that one because it's gonna be a sunflower. So I'm just working on the center of the sunflower. It is brown, but I know my lighting is messing it up. It looks gray.
But it's so pretty.
I know.
It's
I'm gonna share the
gorgeous.
screen, y'all. Let's share the screen, and we're gonna show this naughty. Well, it looks weird to me. I think it looks gross, but whatever. But I'm always like this about weird things, and this is one of them.
Stacy.
Stacy.
I love you, Stacy.
God.
Oh, that
That's
don't look
definitely
like
not
no fish.
that's definitely not the one I saw, but that they were eating for
Yeah,
views.
this is the Greenland one.
Okay.
That looks like a sea cucumber.
Yeah.
It might be, yeah, he called it the sausage fish. Sometimes
Well,
he
it definitely looks like something else. It kind of looks like a slug, but
yeah, but that's what he caught on the drag line, believe it or not.
or it kind of looks like a leash or a blood sausage.
Yeah, it
There
does. It
you
looks
go.
like a giant leech.
Yeah, there you go.
Absolutely.
But I've seen TV shows where people eat. There's other pictures that have better looking ones that you can really, yeah. But this is the Greenland one. I didn't want him to show one that was not Greenland because that would make no sense.
Right.
That looks
'Cause-
nasty though. Would you eat that?
No.
No,
But like, is there people eating that? But you know,
there's
since he
people
caught
eat
it,
Even Nikolai said that there's been people that eat it, but he's not eating it, and I'm not eating it. No thanks.
no, I'm just thinking like French people eat snails. It's a delicacy, so maybe that's like a Greenlandic delicacy.
Yeah, it's kind of like eating those sea urchins. They like to catch
Ah.
those too.
Yeah.
And we saw a boatload of them along the shoreline, but I don't want anything to do with them. No
And now
thanks.
cucumbers.
No thanks.
Stacy is still in the gutter.
Yep, I knew they would go in the gutter. Hey, Jody, welcome, welcome. My
Hi,
goodness,
Stacey,
that doesn't look like it. Laura says, "My goodness, that doesn't look like any fish I know." It is exactly sea cucumber. And then Stacy says, "Sorry, Katie, they're a bad influence."
I was just about to say, I can get my pickle out. My pickle is bigger than yours.
Yeah, I know you're not even will be bringing out all your wares.
Yeah, but my pickle is like this size, so
Yeah,
you
I
know.
It was this big.
Yeah, it's this
I know.
big.
Yeah, we're gonna get laughing here in a minute.
Oh man.
Laura's complaining anyway. I think somebody needs to. Y'all, I'll be right back. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
I take care of a dog.
I might be slightly tired, just a little bit, teeny tiny.
Just a tiny.
Can you tell? This
No.
giggly mess over here.
Eat more chocolate.
It's not really helping. I'm thinking about getting something more to drink because I'm running out of something to drink. Question is, what should I get to drink?
I'm drinking meal sweet tea. I have to drink
Powerade
more
over here.
water.
I'm starving. So hungry right now.
I know, I was thinking of that too. I was like, I slept in because I knew it would be a long streaming day, but I forgot to eat. And I usually don't eat. So I'm like, well, what's for dinner? But
What is
hubby's
for dinner?
off. Yeah. I don't even know. I don't know. In the summer months, nothing ever sounds good, but I'm like, ooh, I have some tomatoes. I have a cucumber. I can make a salad.
I thought you were gonna say green chili.
Well,
What
there's
is
still
it?
some
Green
green
chili
chili
burritos?
left in the fridge, but I'm like, a salad sounds good.
Well,
Yeah.
you seem to be liking your green chili burritos, I think it is that you always.
Yes.
Or do you do other things as well with the green chili?
Well, yeah. You can eat the green chili just as like kind of like a stew, like a soup style stew, or
With
you know,
bread? Or how
no,
would you do it?
tortilla, like a tortilla. Yeah. Or you know, you can make a quesadilla and dip it in it. You can eat it with chips. You can smother whatever you want with it. Yum. So, I try to limit my gluten intake, so
Mm.
I'd rather have like tortilla chips or, you know, put it on tacos, stuff like that.
Yeah, I get it.
But yes, Jason's the key to his heart is green chili. And I don't know, it's just weird when it's like warmer out. I don't like to eat anything that I have to really heat up a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, makes sense.
So what are you guys gonna eat? Well, I don't know if you're gonna eat anything. It's pretty late for you.
Well, I have chocolate, and I was thinking about getting something to drink, something more. So question is, should I go for something with caffeine or should I go for something that might be more adulty? That's
Bubbly?
my options. Yes. Bubbly or caffeine.
Bubbly. Bubbly. Yes, Amanda, that is
You don't think I'm
gorgeous.
bubbling
Josie
enough?
says. You need more
I
bubbly.
I am bubbly.
Laura says, "Oh darn, please don't talk about food. I have to be on a liquid diet for a few days for GI
Oh
health."
no.
Oh,
Can we talk
Oh,
about yummy fluids? Are there any? I don't think so.
yummy
well,
fluids. Well, I got bubbly. My bubbly is very liquid, and I get even more bubbly.
I was gonna say I like to drink green smoothies. Do you think those are yummy?
What's your green smoothie?
I like mine with kale and ginger and apple and pear and lemon juice and cucumber.
Let's talk yarn. Oh, I have fun and exciting yarn gossip. No, the thing is, I am going on Thursday. My big kid, it's his last day at school, and he lives with his dad in the next town over and such. So I'm gonna go over there to do our traditional after last day of school. There's like a whole singing reception, like there's just an event at school, and then we go out for ice cream, right? So we're gonna do the ice cream, and then I don't know if maybe a few of you know Rita, Lena's
Yes.
Design Rita on YouTube. She lives in that town also, so I'm gonna meet up with her and her mom. They're gonna join us for ice cream,
Is she
and
gonna
she
give you
was,
more yarn?
you know what she did?
What?
She's like, "Yay, you're gonna come and you're gonna help me. I have a package to pick up at the post office because mom's in a
Uh-oh.
wheelchair." So she's pushing mom in the wheelchair, and she's like, "You're coming. You can help me get that box from the post office because I can't do it by myself when I'm pushing mom around in the wheelchair." I was like, "So why is that?" She's like, "Well, I might have ordered something through a person in the U.S. that went to, I think, Joann's, perhaps. Hint,
Ah.
hint. And apparently the box weighs 16 kilos.
Oh.
Oh, it's 32 pounds.
And she told me to bring a bag because not all of the yarn is for her. I was like, "What did you buy? That's a lot of yarn." She's like, "I don't even know." I was like, "Okay." So she's like, "Bring a big bag." Okay, I guess we're doing a yarn haul soon because she went crazy. I don't know what she did, but I get US yarn. I'm like really excited about this. So that's gonna be fun.
Aw, that'll be fun.
Oh yeah,
Hopefully,
so Thursday evening, I'm thinking when I get home, I need to do like a live stream and show how crazy she went
yes.
Laura
That'll
because
be
I
says,
have no idea and she doesn't even know herself. Like the person that went shopping, she sent pictures, but Rita's like, "I don't even know what it is. I don't know what I purchased." I was like, "Okay, that's fun." She's like, "I know."
well, yeah, you never know until you go through it, right?
yep.
But that's a lot of yarn.
Yeah, that's a lot of yarn.
We should do a share your stash yarn night one night on a live.
Oh my goodness.
There's
Maybe
there's absolutely no way.
I'm gonna have to take pictures of all the rooms that the yarn
Yeah.
lives in to show you the yarn.
Yeah, I would have to take pictures.
Oh my gosh. Do I have that much yarn?
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Well, I have a
Well,
closet full of yarn. I have tubs full of yarn that I have to get it somehow into this room that live in the other room. Then the walls of yarn, and then the bags of yarn. I still have yarn in my car.
I can at least say that I don't have yarn spread out all over the apartment. I have it in this corner where I sit. So all the yarn I have is either up on top of the shelves or in the shelves. So I'm not that crazy yet.
keyword yet.
Yes. But also like there's limitations and budgets and such. So yeah.
Yeah.
And I've only been hoarding yarn for 6 years. Or I've been crocheting for 6 years. I didn't start hoard yarn straight away,
Well, it might be something to maybe where we can like show like maybe we decide on an amount of yarn and we
Or
can
maybe
like
just do I don't know, like we all have different brands of yarn, so maybe we could just pick one that we have multiples of and do that. Or something, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm one of those anal people that inventories all of my yarns. I literally have a spreadsheet. So I know, unfortunately, I know exactly how much yarn I have.
Oh.
Can you come to my house?
Inventory of what I got. I'm a little afraid that I donated some yarn to So Becca's mother. I took a whole box of yarn to her because she's on a pension and everything, and I thought, well, I'll just give her some of the stuff that you could buy over here that you don't buy in the United States. You should have heard her. She's like, oh, you gave me too much yarn. I never thought that. But she was happy about it. Now, is she crocheting with it? I don't know.
I have some yarn that I know I'm never going to use.
Yeah, like there's yarn that I'm never going to touch that's not in my spreadsheet. Like I haven't even accounted for it.
Yeah.
Because I'm never going to use it. But there's not much of that. There's not much of that. But I would like to give away some yarn that I purchased that maybe I just don't like it as much as my other yarn, that I'm not going to use it right away. It's going to be 20 years before I ever use it, and by then I would have bought something else.
Yep.
So I would like to get rid of some of it. I have like 450 skeins of yarn.
Wow.
I have way more than that.
I have some.
You make me feel better, Andi. Give me a ballpark number so I can feel good about myself.
These are yarns I think I'm never gonna use.
In the closet, I think when I was putting up just my chenille yarn, I had over 1,000 rolls.
Ooh, girl.
Like, look at these yarns.
Don't call me racist. I just said girl.
I would say that if you have a bunch of yarn that you know for sure you're not going to use, I've heard that the best place to donate those is if you have any old folks' homes around.
Mm-hmm.
They take like yarn hooks, stuff like that.
Well, that's cool.
Okay. All right.
Because some of those Crocheter are in those retirement homes, or whatever you want to call them, assisted living, or I don't know.
Yes, exactly.
That'd be perfect. Actually, I'm gonna look into that. Actually,
I have given some extra yarn to the kids' school and daycare.
Yeah, I was wondering about kids' schools too, but I don't know that yarn gets used much in schools in the United States.
Well, here you do, you can use them for any type of craft. You can just cut them up and use glue and, for projects of different sorts. It's not just, actually sewing or crocheting or, there's different things you would do in like art class.
That you learned how to crochet in school.
Yeah, we do that as well. So, but for those classes, when we have the, the sewing and the craft class, that is not like with donated yarn. That's, actual in the budget of, so yeah, that's, it's more for like whatever, just randomly artsy
So
kids.
they won't take donations for their classes?
They don't need it for that.
Okay.
Because it's in the budget already. It's covered.
Gotcha. So they already account for it.
I love the education systems over here on this side of the pond. I really do. My boss's daughter, the oldest one, she's in her, let's see, she just turned 25. So I think she's in her 5th year of higher education to become a lawyer. And they don't have student loans on out there or anything like this. It's all paid through the government.
Yeah, you can get a student loan here, but that's not for your actual school stuff. It's for your living costs.
Yeah.
Like you
But
can take a loan just for rent and that. You actually, yeah, you don't have to go all crazy with loans and stuff here.
no. So when the young people finish their school, they don't have a big, huge student loan that takes up half their income.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
You do, like when you are in school here, you actually get a little bit of money.
you do.
Just, you
Yep.
know, you get some. But if you have living expenses, you might want to take a loan. Like if you live at home, you may not need anything at all because you're getting a little bit and
It's
yeah, it
enough to
doesn't
buy
cover that.
groceries and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of.
Because when I was doing my Arctic guide classes, I was getting paid to sit in class.
Mm-hmm.
And
But
the
also
first
like
time I ever had that happen, I was like, wow, I don't have to pay tuition, I don't have to pay for supplies, I don't have to pay for anything. They pay for everything, including my butt to sit in class.
Okay, Stacy.
See you later, Stacy. Sylvia says, my son was taught knitting in school and he taught her. Wow.
That's awesome.
That is
Yeah,
so
that is.
cool.
Oop.
And then Laura says, Sylvia, come on over and we'll attack that tequila together. And then Laura says, heck, I'm glad I hoarded yarn and fabric. The prices now are ridiculous. Yeah, I'm just, y'all say prayers for me that I don't run out anytime soon because I don't know what I'm going to do.
I'll just send
You're
you some
gonna-
on, Katie. You can have
No. You need to look at Hobie for sales.
Yeah. Definitely check Hobie. And I don't know,
I'm talking about for fabric.
Oh, for fabric.
Yeah, because the prices has gone up and I don't know how long I'm going to be able to, Do you know how long I know you heard me say this, Chaunda, that I had been on a drought of buying fabric since the end of November. I finally broke my little hiatus and I bought 2 not charm packs, 2 Jolly Bars. But I still haven't bought any yardage or nothing because I can't afford it right now. Money's so tight right now. Because when you see butter go up 3 times in 6 months' time, there's a problem.
Yeah, butter is really expensive. Well, I don't know. It's expensive to me.
Well, I'm not going to eat the garbage.
Oh, this is so satisfying. Like the texture. I can just sit here and pet this.
Yeah, it looks it. Like it's so intricate. It looks so detailed.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you can see the 3D of it. Like it's so pretty.
Yeah, I'm like this is just I can pet this all night. And like the back of it also is very very interesting to look at. It's not as, there's details, but it's more rounded shells on this side, but then you get the more like leafy pattern on the other side, like petals.
It's
So
very
what does the back look like?
Like that.
Okay. Yeah, I missed it when you flipped it over.
Yeah, no, like that. That's the back.
So it looks good no matter what side you put it on.
I know.
Yeah, it looks wonderful.
Awesome. But I'm seeing this, we have a small petal and then we're getting a bigger petal here. But then I'm also seeing like there's a big petal forming that will have a peak up there. Like do you see like the big one?
Oh yeah.
So you get petal and petal and petal, and then they're smaller and bigger, and yeah, it's just very satisfying to look at. But I'm debating with myself of how far I'm gonna go with the brown before I switch to the gold.
So how big is it supposed to get?
As big as possible, because I have well, I had 5 of these, so this is number 3. So I've used 2 and started on number 3. These are 100 grams. What is it? 100 grams, 3.5 ounces, 200 meters, 218 yards, right? So I had 5 of the brown, but then I have 4 of this slightly larger skein that is 400 grams, 14.1 ounce, or 700 meters, 765 yards. So I have 4 of these, and I would like to use, you know, a lot of it because kind of stash busting at the same time as actually making a big blanket. So I'm just not sure of. The pattern says that after, you know, you repeat a certain couple of rounds for a couple of times, but then you get to like 79 and then you can't continue repeating because the math doesn't math apparently. So I might have to wing it after that if I want it bigger.
Laura
So
says,
I don't know.
Laura says, recently I donated to a creative reuse organization. Teachers and nonprofits can collect supplies as needed at no charge. Makers such as me can purchase for a donation in the amount of my choice. Yeah, I donated money to my grandson's school this past year, and I've stopped it for during the summer, and I'll donate again when he's back in the when he starts the 4th grade to help with stuff. Because you know, my son and him are on a very tight budget.
I paid back all of my student loans as well. It was quite painful, but I just paid it off as quickly as I could. I think it took me like 3 years, and because I didn't have a whole lot, but I also didn't have a lot of money at the time. But
Yeah.
But I would like for there to be universal free college for our students.
Yeah.
And
Kids should be able to go to college without having to have student loans the size of a friggin' mortgage.
yeah, I kept my daughters down as much as I could. We paid as much as we could. She does have loans, but she can't afford them. So
Yep. My 2 girls couldn't either. And they both went to college.
she I think she's got like 40 grand in loans, which all things considered isn't that bad. It's like 30 to 40,000 if I'm not mistaken.
But how much interest is going to be on that when she has to start paying it back?
She's already in repayment. So because she graduated last year.
I don't think they should charge interest on it either. I think that if you're going to take a student loan for education and you have to pay it back, you shouldn't have to pay the interest on it. It should be straight up what you borrowed, not the interest too.
Right.
Her loans are all government loans, fortunately, so the interest rate is low. And she took advantage of the COVID pause and was paying because, you know, they were on a pause, but she was still making payments because they weren't charging interest during that time, and it was just a way for her to get ahead. She's pretty fiscally responsible, that one. So
Well, the only reason I went to college is because I got a grant. That's the only reason I went.
Yeah, I had a grant and I had student loans too, unfortunately, because you know. Otherwise, you know what? I'm just happy that 2 of my kids went to college, period. Because I was the first female in my family to go to college on both sides of that family.
my oldest daughter, she wasn't really interested in college. She tried it for a semester. It really wasn't for her. And she was never like really big into school anyway. It was always a struggle for her. But my middle daughter, she went and she graduated. And my son, you know, when we talked to him, he was like, I don't want all that debt. I don't want all those loans. So he's going to go to a community college for his first 2 years and then see what he wants to do after that. But he's got a lot of AP classes, and he's also taking college classes early. So he'll have
Those
some credits
AP
when he gets
classes
there.
are a big benefit to save money because the school pays for those AP classes and they're counted as college credit classes because that's what Lynette had. Now with Kristen got in the Navy, and so she, when she got out of the Navy, she used the naval stuff to pay for her part of her stuff. He didn't pay for all of it, but it paid for some of it, and the rest of it she had to take out as a loan.
Yep.
Y'all got quiet over there.
Oh, sorry, I was counting. I gotta make my head whole.
You gotta make your head whole.
I was reading the pattern to see
Yeah,
how big.
there was silence there for a minute.
Well,
Like,
I
wait a
had
minute.
left for a minute because hubby got home, so I went to go say hi to hubby, and I got back, and I'm like, oh wait, I gotta make my head whole now.
Mend the hole in your head. No, not that kind.
Yes.
We lose Sean. We didn't lose Chaunda. No, she's here. Okay, got it. I was just looking at the screens.
Oh yeah,
almost-
I'm not very well, and I'm not really in the screen very well. Let me.
No, it's okay. I just want to make sure you were still there. Because we had silence there for a second, and he was like, wait, huh? What's going on here?
No, I just had we're talking about education and differences in different countries. Something that I recently found out, and this is very mind-blowing to me. It does have to do with the education, so I just, kind of just went down that road again. Apparently, in the US, to become a police officer, that is like just a few weeks of education. You actually have to go to school for longer to become a plumber in the US. Which
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's
Yep,
absolutely
that sounds about right.
Do you know what it takes to become a police officer in Sweden?
No.
It's the equivalent of a bachelor's degree. It's like 3
That's what I
years
thought it was. Yeah, it's
of
kind of
university studies as well as
Yeah.
6 months of work practice, actual experience in the field.
Well, you have to do the academy though.
But isn't it like 6 weeks though?
Yeah.
Not necessarily, because my hubby was going to be a police officer, and he had to get at least a minimum of a 2-year degree and then do an academy.
I wonder if it depends on the state you live in.
It could be.
Because I can tell you that is not the requirement in North Carolina.
Yeah, no, it's like, it was really ridiculous. It's just like a half a year maximum in some places to become a police officer in the US.
And this was also like 15 years ago. So it could have changed.
Yeah, because I saw something like I think it's like more than 3 times the requirements to become a police officer in the US to become a plumber. It's like, yeah, it's like three times longer time. It's like to do plumbing is that much more education than police officers. It's just mind-blowing.
It's mostly, I think, a vocational thing, though, unless you're going to start your own business.
Well, yeah, and a lot of the vocational stuff too. I think with all of that, it's all the certificates and everything you need to do. It's crazy, all the certifications you need just for any of these specialized fields.
But also, you'd imagine that you'd need some certification to become a police officer.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. With all the weird stuff that's happened here, I mean, you couldn't pay well enough for anybody to become a police officer. I'm sorry. That's crazy. Like, people, like, why would you want to do that? This is just crazy.
Well, a lot of times when I see, because there's so much of police cameras on YouTube, like what's going on, and there's so many times where I was like, why is the police totally escalating the situation in a heartbeat? They should try to de-escalate, and they don't. Like, what is going on? Why are they just making everything so much worse, so much faster? Like, they didn't have to arrest this person. They just they should have just calmed the situation down, not putting fuel on the fire.
Well, if they've lessened their training too, then that's probably why.
Yeah, it's definitely a lack of training.
Well, not I saw something because there's a YouTube channel called the Civil Rights Lawyer or the Civil Rights Attorney, something like that. And
Hold on, sorry.
the guy was basically talking about because there was an incident in Florida where there was a young man who had just got off work. He was outside of a CVS because that's where he worked, and the cop saw him outside the CVS and he put on a hoodie. And so the cop was like, you know, what are you doing here? And the gentleman was like, I just got off work. And the cop was like, well, you know, I don't believe you. I think there's something going on here. And he wanted, you know, the person's identification. And the person was like, well, what did I do wrong? I didn't do anything wrong. So anyway, this guy ended up getting arrested and he didn't do anything. So like at the end, because he was like, I'm waiting for my Uber. So the Uber pulls up, right? And so the cops are like, yeah, you know, I do think that he works here, but I don't like the fact that he didn't give me his ID, so we're going to arrest him anyway. And this happened like at the end of May. And when this guy put it on his channel, I think within 4 days, they had dropped the charges and let the guy go.
I wonder why.
But because it was always wrong, but it took all of that attention to get the police to do what was right and let the kid go. And then the YouTuber, the lawyer, he was saying that the training, the guy who did it, he received training in New Jersey. And he was like, why are we sending cops in Florida to New Jersey for training? And then the training that he was showing clips of was not de-escalation. It was all about escalation, be rough. So it's like, even if they go through their normal cop training to get on the force, a lot of times they'll get specialized training that basically is the opposite of what they were taught. They basically, in some cases, in some instances, in areas, they actually teach them to be aggressive and to be on some type of, you know, you have to respect my authority type of vibe instead of being, you know, protecting the people. It's more about respecting their authority.
The thing is with Florida is there's areas of Florida that are so aggressive with how they treat people that if someone lies on someone, instead of getting to the bottom of it, they just go and drag your butt out of bed at 3 o'clock in the morning and arrest you and don't listen to anything you have to say. There's certain areas of Florida that is like that. And, you know, and it's like, you know, it's crazy.
It's just like this kid, you know, lost his job because he was in jail for a week. Change, you know, lost his apartment because he couldn't pay his rent because he lost his job, and all because, you know, some cop was on a power trip because he didn't get his license.
Yep.
Something that there was a video, I don't know if it's a few years back or, well, a year or so ago, no, maybe more, that really got viral, especially in Sweden. I don't know if it got big in the US, because it did happen in the US. 4 Swedish police officers went to they were on vacation in, I want to say, New York City, and they were on the subway, and there was something going on the subway. So there was 2 guys, I don't know if they were arguing or if they were arguing with someone else, or like there was some beating. But these 4 police officers, they took care of the situation, right? And waited for police officers to arrive at the next station or something. But the way that they were just doing what they normally do in Sweden. And so many reactions from people. Well, in Sweden, it was just like, yeah, police officers just showing what we do here. But the reactions from other countries was like, is this how people do it in other countries? Like, why don't our police do it like that here? There was just so different. There was 4 police officers. One was holding down one person and the other person was just sitting there quietly. He was behaving. They let him sit up. There was no handcuffs or anything, but they were just like, they de-escalated the situation to the point where just, sitting there fairly chill, and having the police officer meet up at the next station because someone called for them.
Right.
And there are a lot of cops who are like that and handle their business like that. I personally don't like, I've had situations where I've had to call the cops, or I've been around police, or I've been stopped for speeding. I personally have never had an issue with the cops that live in my area, like at all, like none, zero. But it's not like that everywhere.
I had the police here, was it 2 weeks ago? Just hanging out with the kids outside. Here, I have a little like football/basketball field or soccer field here, but the police just stopped here, was hanging out, chilling, kicking some ball with the kids, just showing that they exist in the neighborhood because yeah, this area is a little bit dodgy at times. But they were just here, kicking balls with the kids. How often do you see that in the U.S.? Do you see police officers just like hanging out on the field, throwing some balls with people? I don't know.
Well, also in the US, we don't really have a lot of places to we don't have a lot of public spaces for children, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's true.
So like where I live, there's not a park around here. Unless you're like in a subdivision and your subdivision has a park for the subdivision kids. Like we don't have where I live specifically, there just isn't a plethora of like public spaces for people to just be outside and walk and stuff like that. So
That's just odd for
horrible,
me.
right?
No, but like I live in, there's apartment buildings here and they're like spaced out. So there's like 2 rows of apartment buildings and then there's like a playground in the middle. And then there's, a greenery space and then there's 2 more, rows of apartment buildings and then it keeps going. But there's a playground on each like inner square and then there's green space in between. Like it's just green and parks.
No.
Like I look at that outside the window there, I have a forest. I look at the window that way, there's a forest. And then I have a playground on the backside, which is like a big ship. And then over, I see the football field from my balcony and there's like a big playground with a big climbing tower and swing sets. Like there's just parks everywhere here.
Yeah, there's not that.
No, we don't have that here. And
Yeah,
not just that, but like you got to remember like 90% of America was designed to not be walkable on
Yeah,
purpose.
you drive all the way.
Yeah, they designed it that way on purpose.
You even have stores that you drive through, like inside the stores. That's ridiculous to me. Like I want to say we have maybe 1 or 2 places where you can do that here. And that's hardware stores where you have to drive in to get like big pieces of wood and, big stuff. That's where you can get your car inside of a building here.
Laura says the police officers I know are always respectful and inquisitive. They want to understand the situation at hand and seem to take care to understand. If they don't, they investigate.
Yeah, and that's been my experience too, Laura. But when I was I think I was 18 years old, I had a boyfriend at the time and we had taken the train into the city. We were in the Bronx. And I guess there was like a shooting or some type of incident that happened around the corner. And the description was tall black man. And my boyfriend was a tall black man. And so the cops pulled up, guns drawn, and basically put me and my boyfriend on our stomachs on the pavement, guns in our faces, going through our stuff. And then I guess whoever was the witness, they brought them around in the car and showed them our faces. And then I could see the witness in the window shake their head no, because we weren't the person that they saw or the people they
And
saw.
see, that's sad that happened to you.
Mm-hmm. I was
Yeah.
terrified. I had a gun in my. I'm 18 years old, and then the cops just pull up, guns drawn, put me on the ground. Like,
I'm just, very descriptive description there. Tall black man, but so much
right.
details. Yeah, very, very detailed
in the
description.
Bronx,
so
which
very-
is
so
basically
really
everybody's
vague.
black in the Bronx. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was terrifying. It was terrifying.
Oh, I'm sure.
Laura says, I should have prefaced for a previous statement. Gilbert, Arizona has been listed as one of the safest cities in the U.S. to live in. Yeah,
And
see? There you go.
Yeah, and that's another thing. I live in Johnston County, North Carolina. We have very low crime here. You seldom hear, like, my ex-husband was an asshole, and he did some things to me that made, and I got upset and wanted to mess up his car, which was technically my car. But so he called the police on me because I was trying to use the scissors to cut the wires in his car. You can tell I know nothing about cars, so I'm trying to use scissors to do this. But he called the police and told them that he was threatened. He felt threatened for his life. And so 4 cars pulled up for me. 4 cars, 8 officers for me. But they were all really nice. They were all super kind. They were like, oh, well, there's nothing we can really do here. If you're okay, he's okay, we're going to be on our way. But anytime you call the police in my county, guaranteed at least 2 cars are going to show up because they have nothing going on. These people
Typical
have nothing
escalation.
to do. They have nothing to do. I mean, I will say once they get there, they're quite calm. Like, when basically he was trying to keep me from going anywhere. That's what my ex-husband was doing. So he had disconnected all the fuses in my car so that my vehicle wouldn't work.
Right.
And I needed to pick up my kid from her job, so I needed to be able to leave the house. And he didn't want me to leave the house, so he decided to disable both of my vehicles so that I couldn't go anywhere. So then I tried to use his car. Since he had disabled both of mine, I tried to use his car, and then he had taken the battery out of his car, so I couldn't use his car either. So I was pretty upset about that. So I went and got some scissors and was going to try to, mess up his car. And so he called even though I didn't point the scissors at him or anything, they were just at his vehicle. He still lied and told the cops he was afraid for his life. So when they got there and I told them what was going on, and they were like, so you didn't touch anyone? No, I didn't touch anyone. Nobody's touched anyone. Nobody's put their hands on each other. This is just what's happening. And they were like, oh, okay, well. And then they left. So like they were perfectly calm in the situation. Yes, there were too many of them, but they were perfectly calm. They didn't escalate. And I was actually pretty pleased with how they handled the situation, all things considered.
Katie?
Chaunda, Laura says, Chaunda, my daughter was in an abusive relationship. I completely understand. My daughter went through hell before she was able to leave him.
Yeah, ours wasn't physical, but definitely mentally and emotionally. I didn't internalize any of it because I'm pretty strong, and I honestly think I'm pretty friggin' awesome. So it's gonna take a lot for somebody to make me feel bad about myself. Like that's just not something anyone can do for me, at least. So yeah, I kicked him to the curb and moved on, but it was just a difficult situation because that was my son's father, and I was trying to keep my son's family together, but it just got impossible.
Yep.
Katie?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you've said anything or if you've done, but have you dropped any links in the chat today?
You know what? No, I have not.
I just figured like maybe
yeah, hang
I
on.
wasn't even thinking about that either. I was like, I think
We've
you
been so
mentioned
busy
it last time.
and talking. I've kind of slipped my mind.
I know.
Sorry.
It
Let me
happens.
start with Andy's. Oh my gosh, and I think I need to get you in my bot, Amanda.
All right, yeah,
Done
you
it.
have Andi and you have
Yeah,
Chaunda's
I need to
in
get
the
you in
bot.
the bot. And I also think I have, yeah, I need to fix that problem. Actually, I should do that. What are you doing? Uh-oh. Oh, there it went. Excessive force is a big one. All right. I need to find my night bot because I should do that right now.
What time are we scheduled to go through till tonight?
I don't even know what time it is. Wow, let's see, 8:39. We've been going 3 hours. Is that too long for you, Chaunda?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go feed my kids.
Yeah, I'm thinking let me share some links real quick and then we'll come. I'll have all y'all show where you're at on your project, and then yeah, we're gonna like stop. Okay, hold on a minute. Let me get Amanda's channel stuff. Oh, it came up when I asked it to. Interesting.
How nice of it.
I'm surprised because I had to shut the whole system down before I left. So things I normally leave up got put down. And when I came back, I'm like, uh-oh, we got to start all over again. Okay, I'm going to share Amanda's next. As soon as I find her. Oh, there she is. All right. I did in the links of the live, I did put y'all stuff in there too. Okay, here is Amanda's link to her channel. If you've not been over to her channel, y'all go over there and subscribe and watch some of her videos and like them and make comments, share some, make some watch hours for her. And then here's already shared Andy's. So if you're not subscribed, run over there and do hers too. And here's Chaunda's. Uh-oh.
I'm actually going to be live for quite some time tomorrow.
Okay.
Nice.
Because I have nothing to do tomorrow. I have absolutely nothing to do. So I will be live for probably a bunch of hours. But I'm also like, I'm getting closer to 1500. And I'm in very much need of hours
That's
because issues. But it's just a lot of things. And I'm like, now I'm on a roll. So I'm going to just keep going.
I think there's a lot, you know, Chaunda, there's a few of us that seem to have this same kind of thing in common, you know?
I don't talk about mine as much only because it doesn't impact me in the same way that yours does, because mine was for a shorter period of time.
Yeah, mine was my whole childhood, teenage years, and a big chunk of my adult years.
Yeah, so I feel kind of like a fraud when I talk about it because
no, I'm sorry, but abuse is abuse, no matter who's getting it.
Yeah, I mean, fraud might be the wrong word, but when I talk about it, I'm very cavalier because I don't really carry any trauma from it. Yeah. And so I don't want to make anyone feel bad if they do.
Yeah, you didn't make me feel bad. Yeah, because I wish there are times when I wish that I didn't have the crap in my head that I have in my head. You know, I would like to be whatever you want to call normal, you know, whatever that is, because I'm definitely not normal.
Who is?
Right, nobody's normal.
Is not.
So, while we're on the subject of this, I wanted to mention the June the 22nd at 4:30 Eastern Standard Time is our mental health day. It'll be live, and Danny and I have been doing this together. We took 2 months off because she had daughters graduating from college, and so that there was just no way to manipulate the calendar to fit both our schedules. So we're returning back to doing it. So it's scheduled for June the 22nd. I'm pretty sure that Myra's going to also be on here because she has a master's degree in this kind of thing. So if you're interested, it's a safe place to come and talk about. That includes you, Chaunda. If you want to talk about stuff, that's a great place to do it because it's supposed to be a safe place. So, and if there's any of you suffering from sadness or, you know, whatever, come on over and talk. We don't talk about doctors or medicine because we're not licensed for that, but we can share our stories with each other. And, you know, sharing stories, and, you know, a lot of times someone who's suffering something might have good advice on someone that will help another person out. You know, how they handled something might help you handle it in a better way when you're having a bad day. And that's what that's about. Is we're trying to come up with a good toolkit so that everyone has some kind of toolkit that can help them when they're having a rough time. Because I know Chaunda had a rough time for a little while too, didn't you?
Yeah, mine wasn't like from a relationship. Mine has just been I think it's been like hormones and menopause and midlife crisis, that type of thing. I've struggled with that. But my childhood was so solid. Like, I had a great childhood. I was surrounded by people who loved and encouraged me. So when I entered a relationship where someone tried to make me feel bad about myself, it just didn't work. You know, because I had been built up for so long that I was like, there's nothing wrong with me. Like, I'm not perfect, but I'm pretty friggin' fantastic. Thank you very much.
I wish you could see. You know, I am who I am. I guess I can't. That's why I tell people. Sometimes people make comments. My environment, and to be criticized for that is just sometimes it angers me. I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I can't help that I have baggage. I can't help that I have triggers that I have no control over. You know, like the PTSD crap. You don't control that when it gets triggered. It happens. And I've not handled mine in the best way possible because I don't have the exact toolkit some others might have. Because, you know, when all the stuff happened to us all at once with the loss of my first husband in the way that it happened, and having to help my children cope with losing their dad in the way they lost it, all of that piled up on all the other stuff that I had going on in my life, you know? So
Absolutely.
anyway, my life is much better here. Does it mean that I don't think about my crap 24/7 either? You know, but sometimes it does come up, and you can't hide that part of your history.
Nope.
And I don't mean to shut anybody down. I hope not. Anyway, before we get sidetracked here, Chaunda, show us where you at on your I'm gonna spotlight you first.
Okay.
Show them where you're at.
Well, I've made many mistakes already.
That's gonna happen with when you're
Did you leave them in?
The first time, no. The second time, yes.
Yeah, because it'll work itself out.
Well, no, there's supposed to be another row of this color here.
Oh,
there should have been another row of it. I didn't do that. It'll be fine. I don't care.
Yeah, it will. Yep.
But my pattern is correct. But that's the color, the number of rows of the color I didn't quite do right. But I don't care. Nobody's gonna know but me. I'm already modifying the pattern. So
yep.
And I did decide. I decided what my first 6 colors were going to be. So it's going to be upside down, but I did decide on my first 6 colors, and I did get, you know, a little bit of this done.
That's awesome.
Yes.
I like the first green. That one looks really good.
This one or this one?
No, the one that you started with, that one that's more like a sage green. And
it
really looks good next to these pinkish colors that you have just laying out there.
Yeah, I think it's going to work well.
Yeah, it's going to work just fine. Who'd have ever thought that you could put pink with green? That's pretty darn amazing.
Of course you can.
The Alpha Kappa Alpha's dead.
No, but just think of a flower field. You have green grass and pink flowers. Of course, green and pink works.
Yeah, and pink flowers have green leaves. So
yeah, I would. You're right about that. Okay, now let's see here. Andi,
Oh,
want to show
me?
them where you're at on your little project?
Oh,
Yeah.
sure.
And I've shared all 3 channels in the chat. So if you have not subscribed, y'all, slide on over there and sign up for their channel.
So
And I heard you
Andy,
said you were making a wearable. What are you making?
I'm making a shrug.
Okay.
So it's gonna like sit right over my shoulders, and then I got the head hole that I made, and then I'll make sleeves. So it's gonna sit like on my boobs, and then my shoulders, and then it'll have sleeves, and that's it.
Kind of like a crop top.
Almost like a bolero kind of.
Yeah, exactly. So I was working on the headpiece, so I had to make sure to fit over my big melon. So that's what I'm working on, and then the back piece will be about the same length as this. So that's what I got.
To clarify for Laura, Laura says, Katie, I certainly hope I didn't offend you any. No, I wasn't referring to anyone in this chat currently. This has been something that's happened in past lives where people that are not here now sometimes make mean comments, but it wasn't you, Laura. You're fine. All of y'all are fine. Because Robin says, Katie, you and I have abuse in common. Laura says, I began caring for my mom, and Laura's another one. We all have some things in common when it comes to our past history with dads and former husbands, and you cannot erase any of that. It's there forever. It's just how you handle it, I guess. I'm sorry, Andi. Keep on going. I'm so rude.
No, I was finished.
Okay. And then must do Amanda, because Amanda's been busy over there with that project of hers.
So, well, I can let's just do that. Remove my face so we can get more of a
Look at that.
I know, right?
picture.
Mine is gorgeous.
And you just started that today?
Yes, this morning. And it's 2 a.m. now.
Well, I mean, but still.
Yeah, no, I've done this. I started, I want to say, was it like 8 or 9 o'clock this morning? And then I was live streaming for a bit. Then my brother was here for a few hours, so I wasn't working on that while he was here. Yeah.
It's gorgeous. I love
Yes,
the
it
images.
is.
You should do the Mandala Madness. I bet you would enjoy it.
Oh yeah.
I
Because
saw something in this one. I really like, I mentioned this, like these different, you see the petals or the leaves. And then I said that there's like this big one that goes up like this. But with these small ones over here, there's like 3 small ones that kind of attach it. It reminds me of a strawberry, with the strawberry leaves and then, the actual strawberry.
I see that.
You see? I was like, I have strawberries in this.
Robin wants to know what pattern it is.
This pattern is called, where did I have it? I have it there. Flower Puddles Blanket. And I found it on Ravelry. Flower Puddles Blanket.
Yeah, it's very pretty.
I haven't been on my Ravelry account in a while. I need to go check it out because I haven't logged onto it in forever. Seems like they may have closed it for all I know. That's beautiful.
Maybe you see the strawberry better in actual the way down with the
It's
I
very
can see it.
kind of. It just reminded me of that with this little thing over here.
Yeah.
But there's like, I see kind of a starry flower with these ones going. Yeah, it's so many things. You see like all the petals and stars and.
Yep. That's beautiful. Okay, now.
And it is brown. It might be hard to tell that it is brown.
I couldn't tell if it was green or brown. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, no, it's brown, and then I'm gonna add this gold to it, so it's gonna be the sunflower. It's just my lighting is not good.
Okay, now I'll show you mine.
Here you see green. Here you got some green.
Oh, yes, true. Yeah. Okay, now I'll show you mine. All right, here's where I am on mine.
Katie.
Nice.
I love the purples. It's in that blue. I love that that turquoise. I love that color.
Yes.
I can't pick my favorite colors.
I can tell you one thing that I find annoying as hell. You see this piece of stranded yarn right here? You see how there's
Knots.
this knot in it? This is not from me. This came with a knot in the skein.
Oh yeah, I get
Factory
those
knots
all
is
the
a
time.
thing.
Yeah. Did you cut? You should have cut it out.
Well, I'm going to cut it out and then I'm going to weave it in.
Okay.
So that it'll be like tails. But it ticks me off that when I buy a skein of yarn and find knots in it, like this one here has one.
Well, you
This-
know that 3 knots is fine. Above 3 knots is not fine.
It
Correct.
shouldn't
If it's
have
over
any
3
knots, is
knots,
my
you
point.
should,
Yeah.
return it. But up
Yeah.
to 3 knots is fine. That's the standard, at least here. You can have 3 knots, no problem.
I
Yeah,
just feel
that's
like that if I'm
the
going to
same
pay
here.
expensive price for yarn, it shouldn't have any in it.
It's just going to. There's just no. I don't think there's a way to avoid it because you
I
can't
don't
like
find
have an
it.
everlasting strand. You know, it's got to get cut at some point.
Well, I don't see it in Red Heart. Any of the soft Red Heart yarn I've got, none of them have that in them. This was
I
from Hirschner's, and because it's a Hirschner brand yarn, almost every one of these have at least 2, sometimes 3 knots in them.
What fiber is that?
Acrylic, 100% acrylic. Let me see if it says what. It's thin. It's not like the heavy worsted I'm used to using, like from. It reminds me a lot. It's
I've
very
been using
soft.
some Hirschner's anti-pilling acrylic, and I think I've only come across one knot so far.
Yeah, this whole kit has just about every one of them has knots in them, which
Boo.
means, yeah, and that's why it annoys me because I'm like, when you order something in the mail, from an online site and it's the same thing. Sorry guys, I'm about to use a bad word. I will be about fabric. If you buy fabric from Fat Quarter Shop and you buy, let's an example. You either buy yardage or you buy fat quarters. Fat Quarter Shop sends the best pristine fabric I have ever seen. But I have bought fat quarters from other companies and they'll veer off to the right or they'll veer off to the left. And you got to have a straight line when you're cutting fabric. And so you lose whatever you cut off on that one side because they couldn't cut it straight. And that costs me money because I'm paying not only high price fabric price, but I'm also paying for shipping. And that eats into my money.
Right.
I don't care so much if they veer off as long as once I square it up, I have the amount I'm supposed to have.
Yeah, but when I'm paying for a fat quarter, I expect to get a fat quarter, not when I straighten it up less than a fat quarter because you can't use what's been veered off to the left or to the right.
Yeah, that's what I mean. As long as when I square it up, I still have my full fat quarter after I square it up.
I'm not.
Then I don't mind.
Yeah, mine are not fat quarters when I have to trim it with a straight line. But Fat Quarter Shop's the only one I see who does not send their fat quarters or yardage looking like that. Not that I've ever seen any, not that I've ever gotten, period, but a couple other companies I've ordered from, it's always the same. It's always crooked off. And I lose at least a half an inch on one end of it. And that's not acceptable for me.
No, I agree with that. I should have a fat quarter of usable fabric after I square it up.
Exactly.
I agree with that.
Yeah. And that's what I'm complaining about is when you trim it, when you make that straight line and you're losing that amount and you end up with less than a fat quarter, they charged me for a fat quarter. I should get a fat quarter, not less than a fat quarter because I have to straighten it up.
I agree with that. I've gotten some stuff from Quilt in a Day that because I don't know if they still do, but they used to tear their fabric instead of cutting it, so it would always be off like that. But once I squared up, I still had my full half yard. So
Yeah,
as long as as long as I've got my full amount, I don't mind.
Okay. Remember, you guys, I posted links for all 3 of these channels. We will be doing it. I'm hoping we'll get to do this a lot over the next few months, where we're meeting once a month to just do this, because this is very relaxing for all of us, and I hope y'all have enjoyed it. I just want to remind you guys that Thursday I will be doing another Motor Blockhead 6 Block 3. I'll be doing that during the live. And if it goes as smooth as the one went last week, I'll probably add something extra to sew. Probably my PMQ. By the way, for those who knew I was waiting on clue 10 of my Wild West, guess what came in the mail today?
Yay.
Yay. So now I have all of them so I can start working on that. Friday, we will be doing the 1000 block, block number 10, which will be merry-go-round, which is on page 286, block number 558. I'll be doing that one. So those of you who have the book that are sewing the blocks too, stay in be ready for that. That'll be this Friday. And then Saturday, I don't know if I'll work. I think I want to work on my magnolia. I need to cut some more fabric to finish, to make sure I have enough to finish that third row. And then I'll be doing then all I have left to do with my magnolia is put a border around it. And then I have a premiere on the 16th with Andi from True Blue. So y'all stay tuned for all of my fun. And remember, thank you. I'm glad y'all are enjoying it. I'm enjoying this. It's another thing that I can do that I love doing. And these ladies are so calm and easy to work with. I really appreciate it. And you're welcome, Laura, anytime.
It's a lot of fun.
Oh, yes.
I'm really enjoying this, and I'm getting to know some crocheters, and I love that, especially with someone on this side of the pond and on that side of the pond.
Right.
That's really good. And I love talking to Amanda because she lives in Sweden. Y'all don't know this, but Sweden's in the top 5 best places to live.
I knew that.
And you were talking about boating, and I meant to say something. Who knows what country has the most islands that are on this side of the pond? Let's see who knows the answer, because I've mentioned this before. What country has the most islands?
Are we talking in the world?
In the world. What
Geography is not my subject. I cannot be of assistance here.
Anyone want to answer that question? Because I know Amanda can answer it.
I know.
Amanda knows, just like I know.
I was gonna say, I thought we did this last time, so I don't want to answer because I thought that you guys told me
answer
this.
that question before we hit the road? No one. Interesting. So far, no one's volunteering unless they're Googling it right now.
The Google bots are running.
Yeah, let's go to Google, find out what they got. So I will tell you that this country has 250,000 islands.
A lot of islands.
Yep, 250,000 islands.
It is a few.
Yeah,
A couple.
I'm like, where?
A couple. Yeah, a couple.
You must really have to look at the map close to see all of them.
Does everybody have their own island?
That's what I was wondering.
Well, the
How many-
capital's built on 4 big islands and then a couple of, but yeah. The
Okay.
main parts.
Laura says, I don't know. I live in the middle of the desert.
She ain't got no islands.
Okay, so y'all get to learn a new geography thing. Sweden has the most islands in the world with 250,000 islands.
Did you visit
Yep.
them all?
Know that.
No, I have not.
Has
A bunch,
anyone
though.
in Sweden ever seen all of them?
I don't think so. Well, yeah, no. There's a
How
few.
many of them are not lived on?
I couldn't tell you.
You don't know.
I
didn't
couldn't
think
even
to
tell
look
you how
that
many
far.
that are lived on, but yeah.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of places where you can buy you know, an island with a house on it, because that is, you know, there's a
Really?
bunch of those. Yes, there's just a little house or a little cottage on an island. There's plenty of summer houses like that in the
Interesting.
archipelago. Yeah. So you can have
Yeah,
your own island.
it's just like with Greenland, you know, people just assume that if the ice cap melted, that we would have a landmass. We would no longer be the largest island in the world because we would turn into an archipelago. Because right in the middle of Greenland is a big hole, 3 times the size of the Grand Canyon.
Wow.
Yep. And the reason we know that is because NASA did some infrared scans. They started it not long after I moved here, and they finished it up 2 or 3 years ago. And they found a lot of information. There's a lake underneath the ice sheet, a freshwater lake under it, and that whole area is the size, like I said, 3 sizes of a Grand Canyon. It's really cool. Anyway,
That's crazy.
yep. So thank you everyone for coming tonight. I appreciate all of y'all. Make sure you look for that video at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time of me fishing. Y'all are going to laugh. And make sure you keep an eye out on the water line or you will miss out on what the big deal is. So, and if you don't mind, please like it and make a comment. And yes, the video is 15 minutes long, but maybe you'll take it and enjoy it. I put some great music to the music part, or to the part where we were moving. So it's got good music as always. The fishing part has no music because I wanted y'all to hear all the commotion, because I definitely made a commotion. And my husband was capturing me.
Sorry, I
Laura
got dogs
says-
saying goodbye to everybody.
Yep, and Laura says no islands, but many lakes here. Cool. All right. Have a great night. Remember what to do. Live, laugh, love, and dream. And what do you do with all that? You make something beautiful out of it. Good night, everyone, and I'll see you Thursday on my next live.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Let me stop the live.
Oh, calm down, calm down.
Okay.
Shush.
Do y'all want to go ahead and choose a